What a night of football we're in for. They're playing for keeps tonight, St Kilda and Geelong. They have one big thing in common, and his name is Jack Steven. A four-time St Kilda best and fairest, the Saints were carried over the line so many times by their midfield superstar. But now the boy from Lorne is doing it for the Hoops, and tonight he's ready to go again. Jack Steven has played some big roles in St Kilda Geelong games. Tonight, he's doing it for the Cats.
They've got to get Dangerfield back on the ground. They can't have him sitting on the bench the last 4 minutes. Soccer off the ground, St Kilda. Jack Stevens kicked it. The boy from the Great Ocean Road in Lorne has kicked the goal. St Kilda are back up by 3 points. They think the Saints are going to win. And there's the siren. A magical moment for St Kilda. One of the great upsets of 2016. They beat the top of the table Cats.
Jack's back. St Kilda fans know him well. He was a star, 183 games and those 4 best and fairest, but he's in the Hoops against them for the first time. Great to have your company wherever you might be watching. Round 11 continues from the Gabba. Monday night footy is part of our Fox Footy Frenzy. And we've brought the big guns in. Great to have former Melbourne captain Gary Lyon and 3-time premiership star from the Lions, Jonathan Brown. Welcome, boys.
Great to be here, Dwayno. Looking forward to it. There is Jack Steven in the Hoops of the Geelong Footy Club. What a fantastic CV he did have at the St Kilda Footy Club. He's just finding his feet. I reckon he looks a bit fitter than when he first arrived, Brownie, which is understandable given he's built up to the season, and they need him tonight. They'll need some depth through the midfield because this St Kilda side have taken all before them, really. They've been the breakout team.
They have, Gaz, no doubt about that. You actually look at them on paper, you think, well, Geelong's probably got the better midfield by names, but certainly St Kilda's loomed up to the pack, haven't they, with the performances of Jack Steele of late, but they've been sensational around the midfield. Patrick Dangerfield hasn't been playing in there as much. That man Cam Guthrie been in very good form, Gaz, so that just adds to that depth, and Brandon Parfitt, of course, adds that defensive pressure. So looking forward to a big game and a big match up in that midfield.
One big late change for the Saints, though. Paddy Ryder is out with soreness, we understand, and they've brought back Ed Phillips, who was initially dropped, but he's been brought back into the team. So they haven't brought back the extra ruckman they carried as an emergency, Ryan Abbott, who could have played against his old team. They've gone with a non-ruckman.
Well, no Ratugolea maybe don't force their hand, but I think their preference would be to go with both Ryder and Marshall, given how well it's worked in recent times.
I don't think it's a selection thing, Gaz. No. You know, I think that was the one part where you'd say you'd probably give the nod to Geelong's midfield, apart from the rucks. Yeah. You know, and that's definitely where St Kilda would have had an advantage if they had Ryder and Marshall have been performing well together the last fortnight.
Also great to have part of our coverage this evening, 3-time premiership star from the Lions downstairs, Alistair Lynch. Welcome back to you, Alistair.
Thanks, Dwayne. Yeah, looking forward to this game. Should be a cracking game between, obviously, 3rd and 6th position. I think for the Saints, I mean, with wins over Richmond and Port Adelaide already this season, if they can tick this box against the Cats, I mean, they set themselves up for a real tint at the flag at the end of the year. And for Geelong, I think a great opportunity for them, and it's a big 5 days for them. They take on Port Adelaide Friday, so this is a massive obstacle to get over the line here. Want to touch on this man here, Dougal Howard. He was part of the Paddy Ryder trade from Port Adelaide, and there's been a lot of attention on the new players for St Kilda, in particular Zach Jones and Paddy Ryder and Dan Butler. But I think this man has snuck under the radar a little. 6'4", 6'5", plays in the last line of defence, has been rarely beaten this year, only conceded multiple goals on 3 occasions, and one of the better spoiling defenders in the comp. So this should be a great game, and I think Dougal Howard will have a fair say in the result tonight.
Absolutely. Great stuff, Lynch. You look forward to coming down to you during the course of the evening. Couldn't ask for more than this. A top of the ladder battle. The winner tonight will be in the top 4. Bounce not far away, and a great mix on a Monday night. The big stars like Selwood, Dangerfield. The first game at Jack Bytel. What a moment for him.
Deep breath.
Bounce of the ball coming your way next.
Does he get much on it? The bounce of the ball, Ryder did it well. Butler, what does he do? He kicks a goal.
Goes to Myers, always good inside 50, this young man.
High ball from Marshall, Ballard front, Butler front and centre. You could put this down, I reckon. He doesn't miss those, does he?
Ryan Myers has already kicked one on the left this time. Brian's got 2. unusual hooking style, a la Matt Suckling. Beautiful finish. Wonderful it was. Ryder at the back. Can he wind back the clock? He gives it to Butler. He's streaming forward for goal number 4. Magnificent. A career high 4 goals. That unusual chipping style. Absolutely perfect.
They've got some weaponry, these two teams. Great to have your company. Bounce not far away. You're excited to see a few of the big guns go head-to-head tonight.
Yeah, big, tall guns, but also the smaller guns like Butler and Myers. It'll be great to watch. This is interesting, Brownie. In a season or an era of football where we get complicated about 18 ground presses and all this sort of stuff, it's simplified a lot from a St Kilda point of view. When you got King and you got Ryder and you got Marshall and those players that are sitting there in a spot that's 30 metres out from goal, it becomes predictable for the smaller forwards as well who can get on the end of it. And this, 15 to 30, that's a hell of a lot of goals that are being kicked from 30 metres back to the goal square, and I love it. I love the predictability of it from a St Kilda point of view.
Been great to see, and the successful teams have been doing that this year. Gaz and St Kilda have been successful, no doubt about it. They've got those small forwards, haven't they? Butler, Gresham, Hine, Sinclair, Kent, just to name a few, to put enormous pressure on the Geelong defence, which a real strength of Geelong is their ground balls, their ground ball capability, Gaz, and a strength is in their defence as well. So when the ball hits the ground, Geelong defenders sweep it up and they sweep it out. And that is when they have a win. It's a distinct difference when they win and when they lose. So how can they handle that St Kilda small forward pressure today will go a long way to winning the game.
So that ground ball as well as intercept marking of Stewart, who's been just so inspiring. That man there, Patrick Dangerfield, where does he go tonight? He had a rest. He put the feet up last week until about the last 8 minutes of the game when it closed to 15 points, and they said, that's enough. That 12% midfield, you can go in now and win us a clearance and kick us and help us kick the goal that sealed the match.
That'll be scoreboard related, I would have thought, Gaz.
Yeah, I think we're going to see him more through the middle. I think he's had his little breather, but they managed their team really well. The Geelong Footy Club, they've been such a professional outfit for such a long time. That's why this is a great... I don't know if St Kilda need to be tested, given they've beaten Port and they've beaten Richmond. But a bit like, the big game between Port Adelaide and Richmond the other night, Port walked away just absolutely rubber stamped. The Saints get the job done tonight, they'll get it rubber stamped.
Gaz, one thing we want to watch out early in the game is I think Geelong will want to keep the ball movement slow. They want to take the pace off the game, whereas St Kilda will want fast, ballistic ball movement.
Saints #1 play on from a mark, and Geelong are 18th. So there's your contrast. Geelong kick the footy around, but they go slow and they want to dictate the ball in hand. St Kilda will mark and go. So, there's so many things to look forward to tonight.
Yeah, Geelong coming off a 13-goal performance last week, and the Saints not kicked less than 11 goals for the past 7 games they've played. They've won 6 of their past 7. And first game at Jack Bytel about to have his first centre bounce. Mentioned we brought in the big guns for Monday Night Footy. Here's the voice of Fox Footy, Eddie Maguire.
Good on you, Dwayne. Looking forward to this. Great football. I've seen some wonderful games over the last period of time. It's almost like everyone's found their feet.
What about that matchup, Ed? The young and the old, 34 years of age, Harry Taylor up against this rising superstar, Maxi King.
So away we go. Opening bounce. Stanley for Geelong. Marshall for St Kilda in the ruck. And up they go. Selwood. So many times I've seen him do that over the years. Great play there by Duncan getting the ball out. Menegola gets the handball away. Collar Jasny for Geelong goes wide, and Myers takes the mark out on the wing position pretty much. So Myers, who loves to just step past it. No 15. Guthrie comes back, and the mark has been taken by Tommy Stewart. Henderson in game 175 kicks out wide to Blitzarves. Arms taken, free kick.
Already see this control ball movement, Gaz, early in the game. Just the short kicking, uncontested mark game that Geelong will want to build just to take the edge off the game.
And Brett Ratner would be a bit disappointed with this. He knew this was coming, and they peeled off however many in the first couple of minutes.
Hughes, Henderson, Guthrie close to the boundary line, and the zone has worked well for St Kilda. Had plenty of it, the Cats, but couldn't get it past the wing, and we'll have a throw in.
No damage done. They've taken 5 uncontested marks, no damage done.
So again, no Paddy Ryder, late withdrawal. Marshall and Stanley. Cats also going in with 1 ruck. Marshall wins it, scrambles it towards Hine in the wing, and it rolls out just the Saints side of the wing. He's having a great season, Rowan Marshall. Stanley's got the job cut out for him. No Radicalier. They've rested him, the Cats, and both go at it with the fist down. Clark. And he blasts it long. King's down there, couldn't get a run at it, and Blitzars does. Strong grab early.
Well, that's that spot they love to go to, but that's the challenge that they've got tonight, because the intercept marking of Geelong is first rate.
So, Brownie, tell us about the way St Kilda are setting up. They're just keeping it in the forward 50 at the moment for Geelong.
Yeah, they want Geelong to kick long. Yeah, they want to kick the ball long. So they want to try and avoid this. Yeah, this is how Geelong will want to set up early in the game, especially Ed.
So Blitzarves gets the kick out this time to Tui, who's a thumping kick of the ball. He gets it at half-back. Again, looks up. One-on-ones everywhere. He decides to go short with the kick. Menegola.
I think that stat that Gary Lyons said pre-game that shows that Geelong don't want it to be an athletics contest. St Kilda do.
So Menegola high up and under, up towards Dangerfield, gets to the front spot, off the hands of the pack. Close. Long handball back. Back to Tui again. Guthrie looks up, has Rowan at centre-half forward, decides to go to Stanley in the pocket. The big man's got forward, the handball's inside. Here we go. First shot at goal for the Cats. Menegola strolls in. Nice little step pass coming from close, and the Cats get the first on the board.
Well, it's one thing knowing what an opposition team are going to do. It's another thing stopping it, Brownie. And there's nothing in this build-up so far that surprises anyone in footy. They own the football, they control the tempo, they hit the uncontested mark target. It's 24 possessions to 2, and the first goal's on the board. So St Kilda would have expected it, but then stopping it is a whole other case.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris got to be very happy. Brett Radden be disappointed. And we know Geelong, when they play well, they start fast. And, you know, St Kilda will be fully aware of that. They won't want to be behind going into quarter time.
Good ball use, isn't it? And
yeah.
So the point is in here, somehow the Saints have got to get some pace on the ball, because if they just keep getting it denied, they won't. You know, they've got on a bit of a roll, they've got a bit of momentum behind them, and right now it's Geelong. They're just dictating.
There's Jack Bytel in the number 23, side by side with Jack Stephen. In his first game, they picked 41 from a couple of seasons ago, when the famous number 23 of Stewie Lowe, and they'll recall it and do it again.
I bet he has a crack too, Gaz, young Bytel. He might be a bit green, but he has a crack.
Yeah, they like him. He's had the back injury and held him back for a while.
Yeah, number 2 for possessions in the TAC Cup a couple of years ago behind Sam Walsh. You know he can get it. There's Jack Stephen against his old team. Menegola, who's had a couple of pieces of it early, to half forward and back to the flight Patton.
Yeah, I reckon Patton's got the job on Brian Myers.
Long. Little space to use it. Put it to the feet of Marshall. Bangs it towards half forward though. Free kick for a hold here. And it's Battle's ball. So they're about to hit the top of the square here, depending on what he wants to do. Goes with a short pass. And now the launch top of the square. King's down there. Edged out of it by Taylor. O'Connor, brilliant tackle by Butler. Had him wrapped up. Got it out just in time. Stephen. Menegola. Blitzars. Close. Tui. Henderson. Tui. Multiple possessions. Still owning the ball, though. Gets away from Caulfield. Finds a target, and they can settle.
They're ball hogging Geelong. It's not fair. It's like the under-12 game. They're not giving the other mob a look.
I think this is where St Kilda need to tighten up. Stop this uncontested mark. That's 14 marks already in the early stage of this first term. They've got to force the handball and play on.
Yeah, they've got to be more desperate on the man of the mark.
And they're almost out here. The Cats, Kolajasny has it at defensive 50. Goes long up the line, looking for the big mark. Stanley was there, nudged underneath by Marshall, did very well, then got his left boot, just hoiked it forward, beat everybody. King's handball was a beauty. Membry went without it, goes in, applies the tackle, umpire says ball it up.
Is that man Mark O'Connor? Gaz, I think he's got a big job on Dan Butler today. He's got the free kick there. He's been sensational, O'Connor, all year. He's done many a good job on all the elite small forwards in the competition. So now, no doubt, he'd be set for Dan Butler, who's been in probably all-Australian form, Gaz, I would have thought, and probably St Kilda's best player this year.
So the Kerryman gets the 1-2 going after getting the free kick. Throws everything at it. Gets the ball up towards the half-forward flank position. Off hands long, gets the handball going. Now the Saints can move it through. Battle. Here's the first game of Bytel. Does nicely. Handball to Sinclair. Out wide it goes. Kent. at the true centre-half forward position, goes inside with a kick, looking for King. What'll he do? He gives it off. Hill with the dancing feet, chips around the corner, he goes back to his teammate. That was a good 1-2 play.
It's still frustrating though, Eddie. You know, you just see Brad Hill, they need to start using up Brad Hill. He runs more kilometres than anyone out in the field, and he will again tonight, but at the moment his new St Kilda teammates are just not seeing him enough. Again, he should have got that ball back and probably could have kicked the goal on the run. Instead, he delivered it, and yes, they've got a shot on goal, but they just need to have more awareness of their new teammate.
So Maxi King has kicked 15 goals, 5 in his 10 games of football so far. Comes in, drop punters on its way to the near side for a behind.
Saints sit above Geelong on the ladder right now. They're third, Geelong sixth. But the Cats will take their spot inside the top 4 if they win. Saints win, they establish their spot in the top 4 with just 6 home and away games left after this one for these two. As the big fly, Henry goes up, couldn't bring the mark down, gets it, tries to squeeze it through to Selwood. Little tap on was good. Menegola, Duncan, wrapped up, taken to the line. Sinclair gets the free. The line wasn't the saviour. So owning a little bit of possession of their own here, St Kilda. Long. Howard, go back and get it. Trouble. Made it Long's problem. All part of the grand plan. Get this Geelong zone to spread a little and then you can kick through it. Wilkie, what does he want to do? No, he doesn't want to go anywhere. In fact, until someone comes to him, he doesn't want to go anywhere. Until Tom Hawkins comes out of the zone, doesn't want to kick into the zone. Off hands. Kent flicked it back. And off the side of the boot of Harder Clark out on the full free kick Geelong.
So they're just looking for a bit of an answer, aren't they, at the moment, the Saints? They've come up against a really well-drilled opposition. Closed off exits both sides of the ground. Haven't been able to get their faster game going.
Going by 90% by foot, Geelong. Extremely high. St Kilda, in contrast, 63%.
They've been surgical so far, the Cats. They've been great. And O'Connor, no panic at all. Rowan, the big flyer, got enough of it. No, said the umpire. Clark for the Saints. And Jack Stephen tries to flick the ball out. And gets a free kick.
Do you need to have another look at that, Ed?
Oh, I think we'd have to have another look at... Absolutely, Gary.
I'm not quite sure what that was for, to be honest.
Anyway, Jack Stevens got it. Let's have a look. He fell into his back, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah, fair enough. Been paying that of late.
All right, well, Jack Stephen against his old side. We know he kicked the winner for the Saints against the Cats. Not on this occasion. It's into the danger zone. Menegola gets the last touch over the line out of bounds. Geelong 7, St Kilda 1. Let's have another look at this. So I've been looking for in the backs. The umpires have been told to look for them. That one, well, that's as close to being line ball as you'll ever get, I think.
Carlisle goes back to fullback to Clark. He's been in good form. Buys himself time and then kicks it out on the full for the second possession he's had in a row out on the full.
So all not working for them. He's been their most level-headed and composed player the last couple of weeks. They've conceded 60 marks the last 3 weeks, St Kilda. They've already conceded 20 in this first 10 minutes.
Good contest there. Sinclair pokes it inside, turns it over to Buse. He can go into an unset St Kilda defence if he wants to hurry. A bullet to the pocket and Hawkins. Body use. Perfect.
They've set up really well behind the football, Gaz. The Geelong players, no doubt about it, they're very experienced. So it's very difficult for St Kilda getting his speed on the game at the moment. And this man, of course, has been in fantastic form. Dougal Howard's been in great form. Alistair Lynch spoke about it before the game.
The highest rated forward in the comp over the past month. Tommy Hawkins in.
Getting better with age, Gaz.
Post 30, yeah, he is. He's in fantastic nick.
19 goals, 13 for the season. 573 of them in total, and that's a work of art. The Cats had the first two.
Just on goal kicking, which becomes so critical. We know St Kilda are the most accurate team. Yeah, when we have a look at that kick again from behind to Tom Hawkins, then the shot at goal. I mean, there's Dougal Howard who's given him a fair head start here. And the space has been maintained. The hit-up's beautiful. This way he goes, and then it's a battle of strength. But you've got to know what shape your kick is. And that shot we had from behind the goals there was a perfect example of Tommy Hawkins, who's a left-to-right kicker. And the ball flight left to right, then you can make your adjustments and know which way to, you start lining it up.
Just, I reckon, Patton would be disappointed with that. I just reckon to go all the way to win these games of football against good opposition, it's got to be absolutely 100%. Now, that might have been 99%, Gaz, but that's not enough to get the job done. He could have got a fist to that. He'd be disappointed in that effort, I think.
Well, it's a big challenge for the Saints and their experienced on-field leaders, because everything's going against them. They've got to generate something here. They've got to win some contested footy, get a little bit of pace on the ball. Probably missing Zach Jones, who's a bit of a firelighter there in the middle, has been this year.
86% kicking efficiency to Geelong. We said they were like surgical precision. They've been sensational. New kid on the block, the Saints up against the team that have been the perennial champions for a long period of time. So the moment comes to them now. Bytel with his first kick. I'll say that was a pass towards Marshall. Here's a chance for Phillips from 50, open goal, and puts it through. Well played. Bytel sets up the first goal for the Saints.
Does he get the goal assist for that, Ed?
Yes, give me one. That was okay.
I can't comment about first kicks in your first game, because I never got one in my first game. So any kick's a good kick in your first one, that's for sure. And a good finish there by Phillips, who has come into the side late. Just watch that.
What you see there is Duncan, who peels off Phillips. So Duncan started on this near side wing.
Yeah.
So far, I've seen Duncan, I've seen Tui, and I've seen Stewart all play on that wing. And their role is to peel back and become, the interceptor and the provider.
Support the defence.
And support that defence. Now, that's Duncan, third man up in that marking contest, and that's his man right there, Phillips, coming off the wing. So it's all good and well to push back and help. St Kilda should now be aware of this. So that's the three. That's Tui, and that's Stewart, and that's Duncan. They're not going to play too honest as wingers. They're going to go back and be defenders, play through the wingman.
And Gaz, you touched on it, that there's a lack of spark out there for St Kilda, so hopefully that generates something. And I think that's reflective of the uncontested marks from Geelong, because they're just not defending well and certainly not using the ball quickly.
Only Ed Phillips' second goal in footy, so well done, Ed.
And the ball up Dangerfield. We'll see what kind of mix he has tonight, forward and midfield. Marshall, clearance, run down from behind, Kent tackle, slammed into the deck. Great tackle. Caused the ball to be knocked out. Now it's in Membry's hands. Flicks it to Phillips. 2 in a minute. They're in the game now. Well-organised chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Dwayne, that was another one. In that wingman out there, they might want to start tightening up on him now, Gaz. Because we know the Gabba is a good centre bounce ground. You get full value for your centre bounce if you can win the clearance. They won the last 2 clearances, so you don't want to be leaving your wingers out there on their own. But that might be while they're getting back there so quickly to defend.
Well, there's Duncan. You can see him to the left. He's pushed back defensive 50, and there's his man again, Phillips. So the defensive winger for Geelong, who's going back to help, hasn't worked the last 2 starts. And now you've got to, if you're a St Kilda team and you're a coaching staff, you're aware of that, the message comes out, hey, they're going to slide, I mean, Tui and Stewart doesn't play wing. See Stewart on a wing, you know he's going to slide defensively. There's going to be opportunity out on this wing, and we've seen it in the space of 30 seconds.
Well, you want to be doing something special in this St Kilda lineup to stay in there. Ed Phillips' last game was his first since round 11 last season, had 13 disposals, 7 marks. Came into this game having kicked 1 goal, 1 in his 12 games of football. He's kicked 2 in a matter of a minute.
I reckon that's Splitzarves now who comes near side.
It is, yeah.
So this role that they've tried to manufacture and generate hasn't quite worked for them.
So Marshall up against... No, it wasn't Marshall. In fact, it was Battle who went in the ruck for St Kilda, up against Stanley, off the hands of the pack. Ball held up.
It's interesting there, Ed, you mentioned Battle's in the ruck, but Marshall had won the last 2 centre bounces. And then you go out of there while you're hot. You think, yeah, you're running a hot hand, you keep Marshall in there.
So Carlisle will do the ruck work on this occasion. Gresham's kick out of the pack. Again, little toe poke, all in danger. Sees he didn't really go the big hoof, but it was in danger if the hand was on the ball. And the umpire was quick to pick it, and Patrick Dangerfield, just gives it a bit of a flick of the hand just to give the vote of confirmation to the umpire, and will line up from 48 metres out directly in front.
And started forward again, Danger. I don't think he's been in a centre bounce yet. I haven't quite seen. He might have been to one.
Yeah, the last one I think he started.
Right, so he's got to take... This is the hypercritical, the only part that he hasn't quite mastered.
288 career goals, 221 behinds. The superstar from Moggs Creek comes in from right on 50 and he's hooked it.
Must be the socks, Gaz. He normally pulls the socks up. Even he's got the socks down today.
Well, when your head's down there, you've got to be a bit more selective.
No more.
Carlisle. Hunter Clark.
Hold on. Play on.
Takes off Atkins, sticking to that side. Doesn't kick it out on the full like his last couple. Remember, he got there late on Henry, knocked it down. Dangerfield couldn't trap it. Billings was side by side with him. Ball in.
So good response from the Saints. They just couldn't get their hands on it for 5 minutes, and Geelong hit their scoreboard twice, but they've settled here. It's a really good response.
Marshall back into the ruck.
Yeah, that didn't take a long spot on Lynchy. Marshall reaches over Blitzars. He's got the ruck and height advantage on them. Selwood tried to keep it alive. It worked. Went through Billings' legs. Guthrie kept it going. Steele got it back, though. Hunter Clark. Marshall. Big man bit off a bit more than he could chew there. Guthrie. Inside kick. Stanley. He can go back and have a shot from there if he wants to.
Great tackle. Parfitt. Brandon Parfitt, fantastic. Just turns the footy over, that sort of pressure.
Just Guthrie's had a good few weeks, Gaz, too. I wonder whether he's following around Jack Billings. Interesting to see. It just seems to be around him at a lot of the stoppages.
They've trusted him. Reece Stanley, Chris Scott's trusted him to be the lone ruckman. Zach Smith and Ryan Abbott departed over pre-season. Haven't played Darcy Fort, no Radaglia. And he's kicked it across the face here. And only a behind.
Have to move those goals over to the left a bit. So Dougal Howard from fullback. Caulfield's a good kick of the footy. Up towards the half-forward flank position off the pack. Good play now. It's Hind. Pocket pick though. Good tackle, good play, all up by Jack Henry. And we're going to throw in.
And we'll often talk about front and square for players in those situations. This St Kilda side is dangerous. I know what the opposite of front and square is, back and around the corner, but once it gets behind, they are a very dangerous proposition.
So Blitzars, this time Marshall gets the second ruckman. Gresham was good handball. Bytel was another good one as well. Right, here's the chance for St Kilda now. Out they come. Off the hands of the pack, picked up by Buse for Geelong, twisting and turning. Does it nicely with Henry. The 1-2 is good football to Blitzars. Now Blitzars puts the pedal down and goes to the long handball over the top. Selwood read it best through the air. Waiting. Now he gets the handball over to Myers. Myers tried to fashion a banana from 45 metres out and didn't get it. Myers fashion, no good.
Well, he's got a unique kicking style. He had no space to do his swing out onto the right, so he had to try and fashion this, as you rightly called it, this inside-out banana. And so the round the corner's good and well, Dwayne, until you've got no room.
Well, he's kicked 11 straight, according to the stats, when it comes to shots at goal. That was a shot that didn't register, so he's still kicked 11 straight, so it's misleading sometimes. Phillips gets on the end of it. Bytel's had a few possessions, and he was a high possession kid in the TAC Cup. He was expected to be a top 10 pick until the back injury saw him go way late and pick 41. Steele blasted forward. Cats with the sole jumper. O'Connor.
Well, Garangiri left O'Connor to go to Stewart, so he could chop Stewart out as an intercept marker, and then his man O'Connor just jumped in and took the uncontested mark.
Duncan.
We've seen the last couple of times St Kilda are defending much better and forcing Geelong to kick long down the line. So they've only had 24 marks now. I think they got the 20 in the first 5 minutes. So it's been a lean period for the Cats.
Stewart, pinpoint kick. O'Connor.
Yeah, the key's been this manning of the mark. It's ramped up the last 5 to 10 minutes. That's what's stalling him, forcing Geelong to go long down the line.
And that's what they do again. Blitzars is the target, but getting across and doing well was big Josh Battle.
So that's where Rats would be over the moon with that sort of defence and pressure, forcing the long kick.
So battle goes short. Phillips takes the mark.
Yeah, it seems like only a little thing, doesn't it? But it has a dramatic effect on how the opposition sides kick the ball.
So King says up that way. Marshall as well as there, flicking around. Good play by St Kilda again. Sinclair gets the kick across there from Battle. Off hands. Menegola's got the mark. Well played.
And Geary, every time they go forward, Geary goes to Tom Stewart. So they're absolutely aware of just Tom Stewart's return to footy after that injury was sensational. So Geary's got that role.
So no real flow in the game so far. Tactically trying to just inch their way out of defence. Atkins trying to swing out of the pack for Geelong. Now the kick goes forward. Howard's kick, but it's been picked off by Menegola, who's had a very busy first turn.
Yeah, 5 intercept marks now by Geelong this first quarter. They need to bring the ball to ground at least, St Kilda. Bring their small forwards into it.
They're out here. Rowan realises that they got the over the top. Myers needs to use it better this time. It's got Stanley over the top if the kick's good. Not quite good enough, although Stanley made it great. Danced inside, took on Hill, tried to get the handball away. Hawkins still a chance. Caulfield. 45 seconds left. And the ball rolls out in front of Billings. Wow.
It's a great point, Brownie. 5 intercepts means that Dan Butler and Sinclair and Hind, their smalls, aren't getting a look. It'll be a big focus at quarter time.
Clock starts ticking. Marshall knocks it down, but to Dangerfield, he spent that before it earned it. He thought he had it and was going to go. And we'll get another ball in. And they milk it down to 33.
And Gazza, it becomes even more important for the likes of Battle, as you said, and King, because they haven't got Marshall playing forward with the late withdrawal of Paddy Ryder.
Yep. Gresham and Jack Stephen had a muck around wrestle there. Good fun amongst old teammates.
Carlisle doing some ruck work, trying to pinch hit as the second man. Hacked outside 50, but knocked back inside 50. Menegola couldn't pick it up. Patton does. Got it to Steele. Back out, but back in. O'Connor sets it up as the clock ticks down. Rowan's on his own. And he's got a kick after the siren at quarter time.
Yeah, it's that forward-half turnover. All the sides work on. Geelong set up beautifully there. St Kilda didn't get it wide enough coming out of congestion. That's why Gary Rowan was on his own.
And this will hurt. That's his set shot history, this spot, all grounds. We know he's a minimum possession, maximum impact kind of guy. Starts it right, and he leaves it out right. It was from the outset all wrong. And these two heavyweights have only landed a couple of little blows in this first round, but we expect a couple of big ones to be laid late. 2-4-16 Geelong, St Kilda 2-1-13 at quarter time on Monday Night Football as part of our Fox Footy Frenzy. And this is just the entree. It's a brilliant entree, but the main course to come. Fremantle and Hawthorn tonight. Can't wait for that either.
Keeps it live all night.
Welcome back. And Ed Phillips kicked the first 2 for the Saints. They're only 2 for the quarter. They're rippers too. Drifting down the field, roving the pack, putting it right through the middle just when it looked like Geelong were starting to pull away. Cats kicked the first 2 goals of the quarter, and despite probably holding sway, lead just by 3 points. 2-4-16, 2-1-13. Jack Stephen, of course, in game number 189. The first 187 at St Kilda, including 4 Trevor Barker medals for best and fairest of the St Kilda Football Club, playing against his old side. So plenty of little subtext along the way, but this is a big game in the context of the season, Gary Lyon.
Yeah, for sure. Tactically, a lot going on. Chris Scott said to be as good a game day coach as there is in the competition. That wing stuff that we showed and highlighted demonstrates all the little games that are being played out there. So 4 wingers went through there, Tui, Stewart, Duncan and Blitzards, and it cost them 2 goals because they're working so hard to get back and support their defensive half. On the other hand, Brownie, 5 marks from opposition kicks. Geelong defends so beautifully means that Hind, Butler and Geary, who's played on Stewart, haven't touched the footy. So there's nothing for them at the moment. So there's a bit to take out from both mobs here.
Yeah, that's right. And so Kilda want to get the ball on the ground in their forward line. That is their strength, no doubt about it. So King, Memory, these guys, Marks, if he does play forward, Battle if he plays forward, they need to at least bring the ball to ground. They cannot get our marks. 5 intercept marks in one quarter of footy is too much. But in the main, after the domination of Geelong in the first 10 minutes, I reckon Rats would take that. To be within 3 points at quarter time is a pretty good effort, I think. They've been able to control the ground balls.
Alistair Lynch, boundary side, and last week Sam Menegola had 28 disposals, 447 metres gained, 3 inside 50s, and Lynch is going pretty well tonight.
Yeah, Andy kicked a goal last week, and he's also got a goal so far in the first quarter tonight. Had the 10 disposals. We spoke earlier in the quarter about the uncontested marks from Geelong. He's one of those players that is pushing back into the defence, and they use him on the way out. But obviously 90% of his touches have been in the defensive half. But a very important player and a link player for Geelong. So they'll probably let him go at the moment, but too much more ball from that man there, and probably Jack Steele will go have a look at him.
Great stuff, Lynchy. Picture perfect evening for a blockbuster. Second term about to get underway.
Well, that man, Brad Hill, he's probably run about 10 kilometres in this first quarter for 1 disposal. His teammates need to be more aware of this. They've got a fantastic resource out there on the wing to go to. Get the ball in his hands. He's working as hard as any player on the ground.
Patrick Dangerfield, we wondered where he would play his footy. Just the 12% midfield time last week, and he's probably spent 85 to 90% forward again so far tonight without having hit, well, he's hit the scoreboard, albeit a behind.
So Marshall coming in from the side against Stanley here for the bounce to start the second term. Got a big piece of it. Stanley nearly got the clearance though. Down to Sinclair, stripped, kicked off the deck by Guthrie. And the race. Dangerfield tried the one-handed pick. Howard half had him. Danger goes back. Rowan shrugs, opens up the angle. Doesn't get any simpler than that. Took it 20 seconds.
What about Dangerfield's ability to... I mean, that's why. They would love, I think Chris Scott said it last week, they'd love to play him inside 50 more often. We know how good a performer Dougal Howard's been, but sometimes the ball inside 50 doesn't need to be perfect. That is as dangerous for Dangerfield as anything that's in the air. Dougal Howard would be panicking more about that ball hitting the ground with Patrick Dangerfield than in the air, and he makes something out of nothing.
Yeah, he does. And Rowan's got elite speed. It's going to be a tough match-up for Wilkie, especially when Rowan turns him back to goal like this.
So the brilliance of Patrick Dangerfield knew exactly what was going on, covered the ball, flipped himself over. The handball's a ripper, and Rowan put on the Jets, kicked the goal, and bang, 9 points of difference.
Don't need it lace out. You don't, as a forward, don't need it lace out to be dangerous. And with Rowan and Dangerfield inside that forward 50, anything that comes in ugly or dirty, as it's called, would be absolutely fine.
So away we go. The Saints, they've blinked and thought, hang on a second, the scoreboard's changed. We didn't even get started. Steele couldn't quite trap the ball, and you don't give a second chance to that man because he gets it, but they got him. As Joel Selwood, the captain of Geelong, gets to his feet. Stanley gets the tap. Selwood almost grabbed it. Now he does. Kick forward. Rowan hits the pack hard. Up towards Tommy Hawkins. Open goal, bang. There's 2 in a minute.
It's another inside 50 ball along the ground. Just sometimes we get infatuated with trying to kick to your forward line so that they can take an uncontested mark or they can get some separation. This is enough. As long as your forwards are proactive, and Atkins was on that occasion, he read it first, he got to the drop of the ball first, and then it helps to have the big monster in the goal square.
Another centre bounce, guys. Another centre bounce score. It's a great ground for centre bounces, as Lynch and myself will attest to. Absolutely, you get maximum value coming out of there. Here's the Coleman medal race. This man, Tommy Hawkins, like a good red, just getting better with age. Looming up, looming up. He could take the lead tonight.
4-2 out of the centre of the Cats. So again, Jack Steele's been good. He's had the 7 touches. He's got to grit your teeth here. You've got to find a way.
6, 6 and 6 is a beautiful sight when you're in form. can get it in your forward 50 quickly out of a centre bounce. Space aplenty. Stanley gets up there. Who gets the quick clearance here? Big ball to win. And the handball is delightful. Phillips blasted inside 50. King under it. Couldn't get the run at it. Sinclair traps it. Feeds it back. Hill fell over. Battle gets it. Blitzars wraps him up. He dropped it. Play on. Got it out. Sinclair. Hill. One way, then the other. Pokes it back. Top of the 50. Steele's going to have to go. Made the commitment. Thought about the play on as an option. But thinks better of it.
Yeah, flooded forward there. Jack Steele in the centre bounce. It's a tremendous year. He's becoming an A-grade midfielder, guys. When that was the question mark coming into the season, does St Kilda have enough genuine A-grade midfielders? Well, this guy's certainly come into the conversation. His last month of football, he's been fantastic, especially if he can go and convert this.
Yeah, the break helped him get over the wrist problem that he had. And he's come back in full flight. And they desperately need this. Cats have owned the second term so far. Struck it okay. No, just drifted across the face late.
So that centre bounce at that last centre bounce was Steele, Billings and Gresham. So it's the next generation of midfield for the Saints.
So the Saints clearly need to get one back soon. Jeez, he's got a fair way. That's what the St Kilda crowd were carrying on about there. He's ran a mile, Duncan. He almost ran to the 50-metre line.
I think they give you a free hit when you run out of the goal square. You get an extra 10 metres.
You start with 10. Anyway, throw in. So Marshall wrestles to the front spot, hits it there. Billings. Phillips, throw in.
There's that man, Cam Guthrie. He's certainly keeping an eye on Jack Billings. Jack Billings only the 2 disposals today, so he's been pretty quiet. He's not on him here. He's playing a structural position, but if he has been on Billings, he's doing a fantastic job.
Marshall does it well. Touch play on, you heard the umpire. There's Butler, hasn't had a touch yet, Butler. Duncan, handball's out wide. Marshall comes through, just slams it on the boot. That'll do. That's one of those dirty bombs that Gary likes.
Well, you talk about Butler, we just mentioned a quarter time. It's Butler and Hind and Geary, if you want to throw him into that mix, who have been so dangerous in recent weeks and haven't touched the footy.
I'm going to give a shout out here, boys. Matthew Tompkins is one of the boundary umpires today. It's his 200th game. His 18-month-old daughter, Michaela, is watching tonight at home. He's out in the hub. Wife, Bree, well done to the umpires who are sacrificing a fair bit of their time as well.
So Phillips to Membry. Goes central, goal square. It floated late. And the outstretched hands get it through. O'Connor getting up a little slowly.
He's been fantastic, Dwayne. Mark O'Connor playing on Dan Butler. Still, Butler has not had a disposal.
Yeah, we saw him on that list of leaders in the race for the Coleman. Henry blasts it wide. Carlisle got there late with the fist and gets it out, and they can reset.
Is that man Dan Butler being in fantastic form up there in the Coleman medal race, as you said, Dwayne. O'Connor, he's brought down Bruce, Sexton, Cameron and Liam Ryan this year. 4 big scalps.
Yeah, just 7 games last year for the Tigers, and he's been in full flight since departing. Henry through the traffic nicely. Tui likewise, about to be run down. Just got a handball away in time. Menegola, 60-metre kick in the Rowan direction. One grab, not the second. Caulfield, Rowan, broke away. Blast to a couple. Beautiful dance steps. And then kicks it across the face.
Well, when they move the footy like that, and we know they're very precise when they got it, by foot, but when they go like that and go quick, it's a dangerous inside 50 combination they got going, the Cats.
Wilkie to Patton.
And this is, again, from Geelong's point of view, slow and controlled, and they want that both ways. They don't want the Saints going quick out of their back half.
Well, Menegola, he just has his name on the footy at the moment. Tui dropped one. Here's a chance now. Membry over the top. Here go the Saints. Kent gets it out to Hill. Hill looks up, decides to just chip it out to the pocket to his skipper in Geary, who was met solidly there.
Jeez, I think that was a free kick, was it?
By Stewart, off the ball by 5 metres, was it?
Did he have any eyes for the football there, Tom Stewart? So, you are allowed to block the ball, but
close enough.
Yeah, I suppose.
Just. So throw in. Up goes Membry, gets the tap. Sinclair. Billings at the bottom of the pack, but it's picked up by Henry for Geelong, who slams it out of the 50, but it's coming straight back.
Caulfield about to launch it. Or does he pull it short last second here? He does pull it short. Fist to Stewart, knocks it down, but it's into a good spot. King nearly slaps it out. Vitel's had a couple of pieces of it. High kick towards goal. He's just squeezed through. Monster goal by Billings.
Yeah, well done. He's been very quiet, Jack Billings. Only his third disposal, but that's where you can hurt him the most. Don't have to have a huge day, but if you're getting front half disposal, that's good. So what St Kilda's been very good at this year, Gaz, is when they do turn it over in the forward half, they usually go back and score, which is a good trait.
Look where this went. This is the first time they've got a drop with the ball here. This is the first time, well, first time for a while, that they've actually had an ability to go to work at ground level. So Vitel gets involved in a ground ball. Billings gets involved and kicks the goal. Ironically, it was the big boy, Maxi King, that followed up his work. But that's where they've got to get to. Geelong are congregating and they're pushing back really hard to outnumber them in their defensive 50. So quicker ball movement, stronger contest, and then it's Hind and Butler and Billings and Sinclair and Gresham that have got to get to work.
So the Saints are just hanging in at the moment, not playing their best football, but they're only 8 points down, so that's a great sign for St Kilda. And we know how the Cats can go. So this is building into a really good heavyweight contest tonight. So back in the centre again, 8 points the difference. 11:20 on the clock. Bit of rope-a-dope, feeling each other out. Now we're getting stuck into it. Stanley goes up. And it is the first game of Vitel who gets the kick out of the centre again, and a mark. Oh, now they're starting to come in their own. Membry decides to go short with a kick. Big King's got it.
Yes. Geez, young Vitel shows a bit.
Yeah.
In the first game, they've had confidence in him to put him straight in the centre bounce. He's had an impact.
30 metres out again, the kick, Brownie. Centre bounce clearance, 0 to 30. There's your contest, whether it's King or whether it's Membry or Battle. So at the last couple of times, gone to their favourite dangerous spot and could have 2 goals as a result.
Again, score from a centre bounce.
So Membry's mark was a beauty. King's kick is offline.
Just to let you know, there is not a big breeze here. There's a slight zephyr. That's about it. So pretty much perfect conditions. So no excuse for the players right of screen.
Henderson. After the Cats dodge a bullet. Out wide to Myers. Couldn't get the jump at it that he might have liked. Phillips feeds it back. A little purple patch here going the Saints. Patton got it from long. Couldn't find a target. Parfitt. Hassled out of it by Hind. Close got in there, but again, the pressure. Now Butler relieves the pressure by kicking it out on the full. That's ball.
They need the pressure to be in and keep the footy in their front half because they've left their defensive half or defensive 50 10 times and only got it inside once. So they've got to try and attack from in between the arcs, preferably, more specifically front half.
Henderson down the line. Hawkins close went down. Long thought he marked it. And everybody comes up and realises it's Long's ball. See if it goes long here.
Move it on, play on.
The dog step on close. Little bounce. The kick a mongrel though, and he's turned it over. He outsmarted himself. Unless they can get a hold in the ball decision here. Menegola's got it. Butler's got him. Gone.
Can you have it, please?
All part of the grand plan.
That's nearly 50.
Nearly. Butler shot him there. Bit of Sharon.
You're hoping for a swipe.
He
was.
Well,
Sits it up to the square. Big pack under it. Climbers go up. Thump down central though. Right where the Saints probably want it. Gresham. He bends it. It's coming back. Goal square. Little one-on-one down there. Geary. Nearly got a toe on it.
More dangerous though, don't they, guys? You know, when they drive it along to that sort of goal mouth, 20 metres out from goal, brings the small forwards in for St Kilda.
I like the way that Butler showed Menegola the ball. Menegola should have said, yeah, I know, I've had it 13 times. You've had it 2. Great stuff. Meyer. Up the wing he goes. Oh, good mark. Big Tommy Hawkins, like a colossus. And away they go now. It comes to Parfitt. Plenty of time to kick to Dangerfield. That's the one. Rowan's got his hand up in the air saying, kick it away. And that's where it's going. Stanley's there as well. Holding the man. Free kick Geelong. Rowan's got it.
Josh Battle, this is where you talk about players with vision, and you obviously can't work out where people are looking, but he has to realise to his right, he's got support coming, Membry. If he's got an awareness of what's around him, he's not giving the free away. He's holding strong and allowing Membry to come. And in the end, grabbing round him, Rowan takes a free.
So King's miss turns into an 11-point turnaround if Rowan can put this through, and a 6-point lead becomes 12.
Well, it's Tom Hawkins again. Tommy Hawkins getting up, and they struggled to get the footy out of their half. And then this is on centre wing. These marks are fast becoming as important as any, because then it helps you transition. And this is what the flow-on effect of this ends up in the hands of Stephen and Dangerfield. And then this decision here, you just see Membry coming in. You'd hope that he had the presence of mind to say, OK, under any circumstances, I just need to hold my ground. And he didn't. And Rowan kicks the goal.
Yeah, spot on, Gaz. Geelong haven't been a high contested mark team this year, but they don't get outmarked. So Tommy Hawkins, they realise the full benefit of that. He's able to, and a good handball too. Underrated by Tommy Hawkins, that handball. He's able to flick it on quickly. He realised, because normally if a key forward takes a contested mark on the wing, usually he'll have one-on-ones behind him. He'll have three teammates or at least one-on-one situations. That to flick that hand pass on is really important.
Yeah, spot on. It was an old school 20-metre handball, release handball inside.
Bit of Polly Farmer about it, Dwayne.
Yeah, through the car door window. From the ball up, Long tries to trap it and get it. Bytel's been splendid in game one to Marshall. Wobbles it and gets it to Battle, who owes him one. It's gone down the other end to kick him one.
That's why it's great watching footy at the Gabba. Straight out of the centre bounce, another shot on goal.
Are you trying to sell it for the grand final, Brown?
She's working hard here.
Well, it's maximum reward.
Got some Brisbane real estate.
They've got 6, 6 and 6 in Perth too, by the way.
Look how short the ground is, though. How close the 50-metre is line to the centre square. We often talked about the SCG, that it was short. The Gabba's quite short as well compared to the MCG and other grounds.
Great sell, Brown. It's three-time premiership star from the Lions as Battle struts in, heads toward goal, and he gets the one back.
I think Brownie's getting a clip from the Jonathan Brown room.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Centre-bounce clearances, they were 4-2 down. They're now 5-4 up. And as we said, they've gone with Bytel, they've gone with Gresham, and they've gone, I think it was Jack Steele. That's a beautiful finish there. Beautiful, lowered the eyes. We know that Geelong are great intercept marks. It's Ben Long just been a little bit more cautious as he ran in there, given he's had a little spell for that, but he's been important. Welcome back to that side. And I love the vision when you go down and lower your eyes. You have to against this side, this Geelong side.
And just to follow on from Brownie's very good point that he was making about this ground, the $35 million renovations here at the Gabba will be completed by the first week of October. Just thought I'd toss that up.
Does that include the statues to Lynch and Brown that'll be out the front? Or?
Yeah, Brownie's got his statue at the can bar.
I'll tell you, Jack Bytel in game number 1, playing a great game of football. And the Saints are still, I reckon, in third gear, and they're within a goal. So this is a really good contest at the moment. Stanley does it beautifully, and Dangerfield is into the middle. That's when you know the danger signs are on. Guthrie. Good handball over the top from Duncan. Guthrie again. Hasn't had much of it today. He's going to have a couple here. That's 3 possessions. Dangerfield around the body he goes. Great kick. And this man will kick his 3rd goal for the quarter.
I don't want to be too harsh on Nick Caulfield, is it? I think it... if it's life and death, which in a footy sense, Nick Caulfield goes, I think.
So Rowan just got up and hyperextended that hamstring as well. So he's pulled up a little bit ginger for a ginger. And he comes in from 15 metres out, kicks the goal. That's 3 for the term. And he seems to be OK. And the Cats fight back.
And dare I say, Eddie, another goal from a centre bounce.
3 goals to 2 centre bounce clearances at the moment.
You love it as a forward, though, Gaz. Don't exist the one situation where you are one-on-one as a forward.
Yeah, and I just want to see if I was harsh on Nick Caulfield here. Went to the dangerous place. Yeah, maybe a bit harsh. Maybe couldn't have got there in the end. So On the first angle, I thought it might have been something he could have got to, but yeah, well, Brownie, you're on the money with this, and you, of course you would know. You get the centre bounce and you're going into a very dangerous position.
Once again, Dangerfield, Guthrie just did it so well, kept going, and Dangerfield had 2 possessions in that chain to get it from the centre to the goal square to the goals.
I'll take that back on Nick Caulfield. I apologise for that. The angle was deceiving. I don't think he was ever going to get there.
So from the restart here, Saints have not kicked less than 11 goals for their past 7 games. And the Cats coming off a 13-goal game last week. It might take a big score to win this one. This heavyweight fight is building. Steele got the handball up. Hunter Clark, little poke pass, delightful. So Battle's gone forward and he's winning that battle. Heads toward the goal square. Oh my, well, Geary tried the big leap. He didn't have the jets.
Yeah, need to do a better job of getting the ball to ground, Gaz. I don't think it's been a great part for St Kilda. It has been up until tonight. They do a better job of that.
Well, they want to keep it in this half. I mean, 14 inside 50s for 11 scores for Geelong. That's a disaster for the Saints.
Dangerfield to the wing. Off hands to collect from Sinclair. Steele's got it. Hands it over. Wilkie blasts it long and wide in Dangerfield territory. And he used his body to perfection to take the mark.
Just a sensational footballer, isn't he? So he's been camped up the forward line for most of this game. Break class in case of emergencies on the ball. And since then he's had about 4 possessions and set up the last goal. They lead by 12 points, Geelong.
He's had a big quarter, Ed. 6 disposals.
Yeah.
Going into 100% too by foot. You're right, break glass in case of emergency. They could just feel them losing momentum, Geelong's midfield, so he's gone back in there.
Marshall gets the tap, but it's Parfitt who picks it up. Twisting and turning, did well. Then hoiks it up towards the half-forward flank position. Caulfield goes up, couldn't quite take the mark, picked up by Close. Got across to Mitch Duncan, to the top of the square again. Tommy Hawkins is all strength. This time he'll need a bit of guile as well. Coppin in the head, took a dive. Umpire said play on, not giving that one. And we'll have a throw in.
Yeah, a little stiff there, Tommy. He's moving as well as any stage of his career. He's got good body awareness. He did a pirouette there.
Yeah, might have got one in the mush.
Yeah, I reckon he got it high, certainly above the shoulder.
There's been a few diving in recent times, maybe cost him.
I think there was some high contact. Not sure it warranted the back flipper.
Well, he gave one back there to Carlisle. Bit of pushing and shoving, umpires letting it go. Good stuff. Close, at close quarters, ball up. Caulfield hands the ball over. So 4:35 on the clock. Saints trailing Geelong by 2 goals.
Tossed in the air, big pack of players around it. Close got it from Stanley, but fell. Long flicks it out. Billings, Clark, Hill. Billings. Bit of precision, ball use. And then the turnover. Cats were set up behind the ball. They were just waiting for St Kilda to give them that kick. Henderson. Heads wide with that option. Menegola has been hot, so why not go to him? And Hunter Clark.
So again, the Saints, sorry, Ryan, left their defensive half of the ground, defensive 50 10 times once. They've been able to get it inside 50, so that looked like their best chance, but again, Henderson cuts them off halfway.
Yeah, it's a late pressure, isn't it, by Geelong, off the charts.
Doesn't feel like it.
They haven't been known for their pressure this season.
Not as advert as it was, say, Saturday night with the Port Adelaide and Richmond game.
So Duncan gets it up there, Carlisle. Enough of the fist on it to go over the line out of bounds.
Across the field, haven't been known for their pressure, but their forward half pressure is elite. So when they do get it into their forward line, which they haven't done much this quarter, only 7 times inside 50, it's very difficult for opposition sides to get it out of there. Got really good chasing small forwards, the Cats.
Billings. Oh, good smother from Cam Guthrie. Great play. Just there's the pressure.
Yeah.
Just holding it right in.
You can see Guthrie and Parfitt, the 2 best pressure players in Geelong midfield, involved in that play, Ed.
So 16 inside 50s for 11 scoring shots. It was 14, but this is why. They get it in, they lock it in until they score.
So Stanley, you can see Stephen wrapping around the front. He decides to go around the back. Hawkins' handball's a good one. Tui is there. The pressure's still on. It came out from Wilkie for St Kilda. Caulfield has to get and go, and he does. Kicks it up, makes it someone else's problem. Bad bounce for Buse. Can open the door here for the Saints. They pick it up. Geary tries to get the handball going. He does. To Patton. Patton's kick up. Good bounce. Right over the top, and away they go. Picked up by Kent. Kent's kick in is a shocker. I remember it was. Sorry, I keep mixing them up.
So that's Menengola pushing back hard from a wing and getting back into that hole and filling up. They say his work rate is just crazy off the charts. He's 15 touches, getting at both ends of the ground. He's been fantastic.
So Membry's kick was the one that came in, and Kolajasny in game number 100 for the Cats goes out wide.
It's asked. Loops it inside. Duncan on the run. He's got the pass option. Who did you want? Picked the wrong one-on-one, really. Might still work. Stanley, Myers, caught, flicked the handball out. Hawkins still waiting. Meat in the sandwich. Hunter Clark, ball up. But a good spot for a ball up for the Cats here. Saints have not led in this game, if you joined us late. Haven't taken the lead yet. They threatened to a couple of times. Parfitt got it from Selwood, and mongrels the floater. Well read by Caulfield. He stood under it and waited and waited. It was a knuckle breaker. He went out to Geary. Stewart beat him. Flicked it to Dangerfield. Here's Danger. Lace out. A bullet to Hawkins.
Geary on Stewart isn't quite working. He's a marking defender. We know that. Geary's working really hard to try and find a spot for him, but right now, Tom Stewart is up to the 9 possessions.
Been a bit of a renaissance for the key forwards in 2020, and somehow, how's the physics of that? He bends it around the post for another.
He's had an outstanding year, Tom Hawkins. Just speaking about before, his body movements, geez, Geelong look really dangerous, these forward stoppages. Again, that forward half pressure on display. Great chase by Jack Stephen, who was involved in the initial stoppage there. Beautiful pass by Dangerfield. And Hawkins moving magnificently, guys. Moving really well in the air. He hasn't necessarily taken a huge amount of contested marks, but he's bringing the ball to ground for his smaller forwards. He's moving well. He's able to turn around. Obviously, a really good finish. I think he may have lightened off slightly, Gaz.
Yeah, he has. I mean, he got up the ground earlier in the year as well. He was playing a bit higher. Fantastic finish. So it's a bit of an issue, that Geary match-up with Tommy Stewart. That's becoming a problem. He's done the job previously on some smaller defenders, but Tom Stewart's now starting to dictate where he goes at the moment. So
what would you do with it, Gaz? You swap someone else on him, or you let Stewart go?
Yeah, I don't think that's working, Geary, Stewart. So whether you got a forward who's able to draw the footy into spaces that Stewart won't want to go to or not, but it's all about pressure up the field. I mean, you know how dangerous they are when they get to that spot. They just haven't been able to get it there.
Big 1 minute 35 coming up. Selwood almost, he did get one for too high. Shrugged it a little high. So Geary back into the team this week. Paddy Ryder are laid out. And they might have changed their dynamic a little as Howard gets up there and spanks it with the fist. Got it down to Stewart. Knocked it to Hill. Taken to the line. Ball in. Paddy Ryder are laid out. They brought in Ed Phillips. Geary playing full forward at the moment, their captain. See if they change things around in the second half. Marshall. Stanley. Duncan. He looped it to Menengola, the hot man, and he dragged it in. Got to be gone, the way that's been adjudicated recently.
It's amazing, Gaz. Geelong coming into this game 18th for tackles in the competition, yet today in this second quarter they've had 17 tackles to 9. So pressure has been magnificent by the Cats.
Phillips to Hill, to Bytel, who hands to Long, strolls to the arc, launches a drop punt, post. That could have been a big finish for the half for the Saints. Still a chance here to hem Geelong in. To the back flank, they've left O'Connor free. The Cats want to have a roll of the dice here. Henderson. Clock ticks down for him. Thought about the dangerous backward kick. Percentage option, pump it down the line, close to the boundary. And Long nearly raked it in. Feeds it out in the Steele direction. Eluded him. Gresham. Steele. Wobbles one to our half forward. So Kent has a chance to get it in. They need a mark from this kick. He needs to bang it in there and get it long. It's high. It's there. Geary can't get there for the mark attempt. Half-time at the Gabba. This round 11 heavyweight clash. The winner tonight will be inside the top 4. The Saints are in there now, 3rd on the ladder. The Cats came into this game 6th, but if the Cats do win, they'll take the Saints spot in the top 4. Monday nights have never been better. Great to have your company for this classic as part of Fox Footy's Footy Frenzy. And there's a little bit of light and shade in the frenzy. Bounce, part of the light.
So Cats led by 3 points at quarter time. They now lead by 17. Those last 2 goals to Rowan and Hawkins, giving them a nice little buffer at half time. Plenty of work to do for the Saints. Let's go down to Brett Ratton, who is the coach of St Kilda, with Alistair Lynch.
Rats, how are you seeing the midfield battle, in particular the scores from centre bounce?
Yeah, it's a big factor in the game, but we've got to really clean up, I suppose. They're just kicking the ball in there and scoring. You know, they've gone in and scored 12 out of 18, but at one point there they scored 10 out of 13 entries. So we're doing a lot right, but we can't get any bang for buck at our end, and they're just scoring too easy. But yeah, the midfield battle and those centre bounce, especially here, are so critical.
Brad Hill's an important play for you. It looked like you moved him forward late to try to help him get in the game. What do you do with him?
Yeah, we're just going to mix it up a little bit. We need to.
That'll be a good sign.
Oh, hopefully. Yeah.
So you moved him forward?
We've got to move him around a bit. We're not going to just leave him in one spot, so we'll try and get him into the game.
No worries, thanks for your time.
Thanks, mate.
The place is falling down around his ears at the moment.
I wish all coaches would be as well the disposition to handle it like that.
Yeah, well, there you go. Now, he made the very good point. They're not getting the bang for buck going forward, and the Cats are. And 18 points.
25-18, inside 50s in favour of St Kilda. So, exactly right. The efficiency of Geelong was off the charts early in the piece, and a lot of it comes about because, and you've mentioned this many times, centre bounce at the Gabba, Ed. It's, you win the centre bounce clearance, and if you've got the players ahead of the footy that you should have, then you're a chance of scoring. They scored 3 from centre bounce, and this was some Dangerfield magic that just made something happen. It wasn't a pretty kick inside 50, but that's okay. You go to work.
Yeah, it's really... I guess the reason we speak about centre bounce, Gaz, look, they're usually good conditions there, but it's not a long ground. Look at the distance there between the 50 and the centre bounce. So tend to come out of there and be direct, and they've had maximum benefit, no doubt about it. So that'd be a problem for St Kilda. St Kilda would have known about this coming into the game. Don't get scored against the centre bounces. That's their one opportunity where they are one-on-one.
This is great vision.
Enormous pressure too.
Behind the goals is great vision because you see the forwards that aren't working in each other's space. You know, they're separate. They've been able to isolate some defenders, and in the end, you get somewhere room to run into there, as Gary Rowan did. So it's one thing winning it, the other thing is taking advantage of it, and they did it really well.
And Dangerfield under pressure, but he kicks it to the top of the square there. He knows Rowan's got the run at the ball. Just beautiful play. Now, Brownie, you were talking about Brad Hill. They're not using him enough.
Yeah, Brad Hill, he's a guy that probably runs the most out of anyone on the ground, most weeks. And I still don't think his teammates have realised how much of a resource they've got out here. So this situation, just got to give it to him there, Gaz. He runs in and probably runs to 45 and kicks a goal.
Yeah, look at the space.
Instead, you know, I know he gets the ball back, but then he has to kick it back to King in a wide position. So I still just think it's just taking time for him to realise he's there. You've got this absolute running machine outside of you, so they just have more awareness to get him into the game. Only the 5 disposals so far in the game, he can have a greater impact.
OK, so there's plenty to be confident for St Kilda, not playing at their best. 3 goals behind at the moment. Those last couple probably hurt them from Rowan and Hawkins, the Geelong side doing well. We'll take a break, come back and have a good look at this game. Don't forget, straight afterwards, talking about Monday Night Football, it's going to be a beauty as Fremantle take on Hawthorn over in the West. That's coming up straight after tonight's St Kilda Geelong, the second half coming up right after this on Fox Footy.
Who keeps alive all night?
Don't forget, tomorrow night, AFL 360 starts things off with Gerard and Robbo, live Tuesday at 6 o'clock, and end to the Adelaide Oval, where the Adelaide Crows take on the Collingwood Football Club. Big game of football tomorrow night. We'll get to the ins and outs in a moment with Kath Lockton. There are considerable stories coming out of the selection for both sides. And then on the couch, Brenny, got everyone under control. Gary, all set to go?
We will have plenty to talk about, as we always do, Ed, after round whatever it is.
I think we're 11 at the moment. Let's go to Kath Lockton in the newsroom. Kath, let's have a quick look at Collingwood and Adelaide. The Pies have made 6 changes.
Yeah, all up 11 changes. Ed, we'll start with Adelaide. They've decided to manage Daniel Talia. He's one of 5 changes, so Brodie Smith, Carl Hartigan, McPherson, Stengel and McAdam come in. Collingwood have decided to rest Darcy Moore and Ben Reid on top of 4 forced changes due to injury. Still no Scott Pendlebury, and unfortunately Jamie Elliott has also been added to the injury list due to an ear issue. In comes Chris Mayne, Darcy Cameron, Travis Varco, Rupert Wills, and what about this? 2 of the feel-good stories. Tim Broomhead and Lyndon Dunn will play their first AFL game in years. Broomhead will play his first in more than 2 years. His first since that awful incident in which he slammed into the goalpost and broke his leg in 2 places. And Lyndon Dunn will play his first since rupturing his ACL in 2018 and then re-injuring his knee during last year's pre-season. The pair combined have not played senior football in 1,637 days. How good is this, Ed?
Yeah, and for Lyndon Dunn, who had to fight so hard to stay on the list, broke down in tears when he was told today, 773 days. And Broomy, who's a ripping bloke, used to live with Brodie Grundy, their best mates, 864 days. That's just unbelievable.
It was always going to happen, wasn't it? I mean, if you're on the list, your chance to play. That's what we said. And Tuesday with the turnaround game on Saturday, so you understand the resting of Moore and Elliott, and so you're swinging around in Adelaide.
That was West Coast, Gaz. If the opposition was West Coast, do you think there'd be 6 changes?
No, well, not Moore and Elliott. I wouldn't have thought.
Elliott got one in the ear. He went down. I was really worried about it just watching on the TV. He got one from one of the Sydney players there, and James Rowbottom got him, who I actually sent him a text because he's a family friend of ours. And Rowe used to wear number 5. I thought, what are you doing? Cracking the bloke used to wear his number.
And what about Trelaw, just quickly? How long until he's back?
Well, he's a 3-week hammy at best. So how many games that is? Could be 4.
Need to get Pendlebury and Trelaw back into the side quickly.
Yeah, very much so. Hopefully Pendles will be back for the Melbourne game. Back to you, Kath. What's going on with Charlie Cameron?
Good news for Brisbane. He had scans today and it's revealed there's no structural damage to his knee after he hyperextended it during Saturday night's win over the Western Bulldogs. So just a bit of swelling. Unfortunately, he also rolled his ankle during that same incident. So they'll see how he pulls up this week. But he is a chance of playing North Melbourne on Saturday. You'd imagine, given how well the Lions are playing at the moment, they might decide to rest him for that one.
Yeah, you think you might. He's tapping the mat there.
Lucky.
Ankle and a knee. Probably lucky that both went there to give him a little, rather than all the action going into one of the joints. So fingers crossed, he is such an exciting player. All right, we're going to take a break. Talk about excitement. We've got a ripping game. 17 points the difference. Cats are in front. The Saints have still got a few guns to fire, though. That's next on Fox Footy.
Fantastic to have you with us for Monday Night Footy on Fox Footy. Part of our Fox Footy Frenzy. Game 1 of our big doubleheader tonight. The Dockers and Hawthorn still to come a little later on. A big half still to come here. But before they bounce the ball, let's head back down to Alistair Lynch.
A lot working right for you, especially on the scoreboard. How was you reading the first half?
Yeah, when we went forward, we looked good in particular. Probably, I think we're -5, inside 50s, only 18 entries ourselves. But we scored when we got it in there. So that's the simple message. Let's try to get it in there a little bit more. The how's a bit harder.
Centre stoppage, St Kilda were out to score. Got 20 points from centre stoppage. Any adjustments there?
A little bit. I mean, they're quite aggressive in there. We've kicked 2 goals ourselves, so the differential's not great. They're pretty aggressive from behind the square. So we tend not to play a game where it's kind of they win it or we win it. But certainly when they win it, they look pretty dangerous.
No worries. Thanks for your time.
No worries. Thanks, Lynch.
It's really interesting half of footy tactically. Geelong be well placed. 17 points is it's a decent margin. They've been inside 50 though, the Saints 25 times. What they want is they want Max King to start to get a hold of it. Just the 2 kicks and 2 marks. Butler's had the 2 possessions. Both of them have been kicks inside 50. So kicking it to the area where if you're a St Kilda supporter, where you need him to be. So they've got some hope still. There's plenty of footy to be played here.
Yeah, you're right, Gaz. They would be happy, though, 10 intercept marks for Geelong. Majority of those taken, obviously, in the defensive 50. So St Kilda forwards, they do a better job of bringing the ball to ground. Certainly the delivery in there, they looked as if they wanted to hit the top of the goal square more in that second quarter, but the forwards have got to hold up their end of the bargain. Max King's the man and Tim Memory.
17 points. Saints need to get off to a flyer here. So Big Marshall in up against Reece Stanley in the ruck, and away they go. Yeah, took his eyes off the ball, put his hand up, and Stanley gets the free kick. So looking for the handball now, he decides to kick it long and strong. Rowan, out he comes again. Oh, he's just having a night out.
Too easy. He has been good, Gary Rowan. He's been very dangerous when he's been in the forward line, coming up for his 8th disposal. He's got the mismatch there.
6 score involvements he's had.
Yeah.
So why would Reece Stanley be looking to hand that off? I mean, it's a no-brainer. Get a free kick in the middle and belt it into this area.
I love the early contact there, Gaz, and Patton.
So he kicked 3 goals in the 3rd quarter for 4 on the night, and the perfect start for Geelong, and he misses to the near side.
Max King missed one from a very similar spot there in the 2nd quarter.
I wandered out and just to check that there's not a breeze out there, but no, it's perfect conditions.
Of course it is, Lynchy. It's the Gabba.
It is.
From the kick in, that's what we need from Big Max King.
I like that, Dwayne. Get him up and get him involved early. I think the Rats alluded to that, and that's a nice confidence-building mark early in the piece.
So Howard to Patton. He can go if he wants to. He's got the short in Caulfield. He thought about it, and now he goes longer towards the wing. Puts it out in front. Little chase on and a ball in. Probably not such a bad option. Remember, he got done for it. Thought he was reaching for the ball, not patting it out, but the umpire said he was reaching to pat it out.
Wow.
Colin Jasny, a game 100, pokes it to Hawkins.
We're getting ever closer to the last touch out of bounds rule here.
Yeah, might as well bring it in, Gaz.
Well, that's where we're at, nearly.
Touch play on, goes back to Hawkins, who kicks it to where he'd like to be, but he's got Duncan, and this is kickable.
Do you like that, Gary, last touch?
Between the arcs, I wouldn't mind, Ed. Not so much inside 50.
Bang.
Opens it up, top of the square. Blitz got there late. That's a brilliant grab by Kemp. Stood in the hole, knew the contact was coming. Gave to Hill. Howard looked inside. Sits it up. It's a 1-on-2. Catch with a 2. Out of bounds is going to be a win if Butler can get it there. He can't get it there. Colin Jasny, Selwood, Stewart. Cat's pushing. Sits it on Dangerfield's head a little. Long knocks it down. Gresham through the midfield. He missed Hunter Clark. Marshall mopped up the mess. Gresham pokes it out wide. Sinclair collects it. Didn't like what he had forward.
Yeah, don't have anything forward. Nothing forward there, Dwayne. That's where the indecision's been created for St Kilda.
Handball smothered. Rowan cuts it off. Tried to keep it in, then got jumped on.
That's just magnificent forward pressure from Gary Rowan. We're going to go back and have a look at his work rate there and his ability to get to this. He uses his strengths to get to opposition players. It's superb.
The explosive speed has been fantastic. Off the mark to take marks and to smother on that occasion. Doing it as an offensive player and a defensive player, Gary Rowan. Great stuff. Guthrie gets it around. Dangerfield again puts it to the right spot. Menegola almost took the mark. It's picked up and kicked out there by Kent. Gresham almost took the mark. Did enough. Now St Kilda have got a chance to go forward now. Sinclair's kick. Big torpedo up to the forward 50. Henderson is able to track in there, looked around, but under pressure, he's turned it over. Butler's had a bit of a go at him there, and a ball up.
Getting very high up the ground, the St Kilda forwards. Again, they did not... St Kilda came out defence. They didn't have a fellow forward in their forward half of the ground, so that's creating a lot of indecision. You saw Sinclair just have to bomb it forward.
So just the 2 disposals for Butler, who's had such a sensational year this year. Myers, Duncan.
This man's been sensational since quarter time, Mitch Duncan.
Look at that, and out on his own is Dangerfield. The danger man goes long and strong to the hot spot. Up it goes. The young player there off the hands of the pad. Parfitt twisting and turning, couldn't quite get the kick. Close with the player who went for the mark. Stanley over the top of the ball, holds it in. Now it spills Menegola again, and he's kicked another. What a night he's having.
Too easy.
He's having a superb night because he's doing it at both ends. So now he's the winger. He's kicked 2 goals, but he's also taken 4 of those intercept marks you've talked about. So he's prepared to push back hard and support the defence and then get forward at the right time. But right now in the coach's box for Chris Scott, they're having a big win because they've taken away... We spoke about what we loved about St Kilda pre-game. They can attack the top, the 35-metre, and they'll have someone to shoot at. Well, now the whole thing's changed because, as we've seen, they went to go forward the last 2 times and there was no one there. So they've got it on their terms, and I think that's a big coaching battle win from a Geelong point of view.
Their pressure has been awesome all night from the Cats. We saw it up to 100%, the pressure gauge, which is gauged, calculated on 7 different levels of pressure on each possession the opposition has. And they've upped it again in this third quarter.
28-16, the tackles, Geelong's favour. Traditionally ranked 18th this year for tackles. To aim, not tonight. Been outstanding.
Saints still got plenty of time to pass this test, but this is their biggest test of the season so far. Stephen came in off the line quickly. Dangerfield in the middle, blasted forward. Little edge out, Howard not paid. Comes out to 2 anyway, got it from Myers. Gave it to Blitzarves, bends it around to the pocket. Beats a couple of them out of play and a ball in.
The other thing is St Kilda have come out and they've tried to play quicker and tried to get it on, try and get some run, try and move the footy. And this composed Geelong side have welcomed that because they put themselves under pressure. 24 points now, so it gets a bit more desperate. Cats in the box seat.
Looking ominous at the moment. Oh, this man's had a night out as well. He's been sensational. Stephen almost took the mark. Playing against his old side for the first time. Menegola again gets it to Stephen. Flicks it out to Dangerfield and misses.
Their movement's elite, those forward stoppages, guys. They've got about 3 players on the move. We've seen Stephen, Dangerfield, Gary Rowan, Brian Myers in there. Very threatening they are in that part of the ground, the Cats at the moment.
And so strong with Tom Hawkins taking the ruck work in the forward 50. He often moves his opponent off the ball. So whether he touches it or not, he creates plenty of space for his teammates.
So Carlisle and Hunter do the 1-2, and eventually Carlisle just thumps it down the line where it's all Cats. The skipper gives it across to Menegola. Menegola looks up, looks for Hawkins. Carlisle does well enough and takes the mark.
Oh, that 50?
That has to be 50.
100% 50.
Yeah. Down the umpire saw it. So Tom Hawkins was trying to do a Josh Caddy there for a moment. Don't know why the umpire yells out that. It's not his role to do it. He's just there to give the 50. That could have been a 100-metre penalty. Marshall, punched away by Stanley, was a good punch. So a chance here for Sinclair to set it up. Caulfield, Phillips. Now the chance for Wilkie to thump it in. They need a mark. King positions himself up, he goes. Membry was there as well. O'Connor at the full of the ball. He's caught the Irishman, held up in the tackle, ball up.
But that 3 or 4 handballs out there that go sideways, sideways, sideways gives Geelong a chance to get back, and then it's a 2-on-4 contested mark inside 50.
And you can see how many players Geelong have got back. The ball knocked down. Membry tried to find a teammate. Menegola slaps it back out. Hunter Clark tried to get it on his toe. Holding the ball.
Still amazing, guys. Butler, Geary and Hind, 3 disposals between them. Just no action for the St Kilda small forwards, which has been a real strength coming into the game tonight.
Saints are breaking strain here. Coming off 4 wins in a row, St Kilda. Tui weaving his way through traffic. Floats it out to Duncan, who's had his own share at times. Stephen. Some possession footy back to Stewart.
They've got 730 pluses in this side, Geelong, and they play like it. They just know when to go, know when there's a little bit of heat and just to take it out, deny the footy of the opposition.
Dangerfield's playing like a man who knows there's one thing left on his resume. Hasn't got crunch. He flies for this, and that's a flag. A few other of the experienced Cats have 1 or 2. Ball rolls toward the boundary line, and Buse sees it out of play.
It's an interesting point, Gaz, you make. They average 140 games tonight, John. They'll have to be one of the most experienced teams that it's ever gone to the park in VFL and AFL history.
Saints have got 1 30-year-old, that's Geary.
Yeah.
They've got 7, Geelong.
And they played like it early on, didn't they? There was just a composure about the Geelong side. They know what their strengths are. They know what their weaknesses are. That's one of their strengths. Joel Selwood, what a superstar he is.
Well, they've got tonight under control without really having too much input even from Joel.
Yeah.
I feel like they've dominated around the contest, though, Gaz. The clearances, they're +5, but they've just been very strong here. St Kilda haven't been able to keep up around this midfield area.
There was great pressure by Parfitt as well on Dougal Howard.
And Brownie, on that, there's a physical presence with this Geelong side. Like a lot of experienced players, a lot of games under their belt, but there's a physical presence that they're imposing on the opposition, just pushing them off the ball.
You see Jack Stephen there, a bull of a man, 4 times in Kilda best and fairest in his second game for the Saints. But here they go. They need to get a goal here, St Kilda, to stay in this game. Gresham got it out there. Handball over the top from Membry. Did well enough, but once again, Henry is there. Stewart, composure. Look at that. Just waltzed around him, and then Menegola said, thank you. Haven't had a touch for about 2 seconds. I better have another one. His kick is a ripper. Out to that man, Jack Stephen.
Sam Menegola's given Jack Billings a nice old hiding at the moment. Just a bit of a lesson in running and where to run.
Jack Stephen got under that a little. Stanley got under it. Couldn't bring the mark down. Myers knocks it down. Hawkins. Ton of time to assess what he's got on. Colin Jasny has never kicked a goal, and he's in game 100. He nearly got the gift of his life there. He was out of his postcode. He didn't know what he was doing. Henry can't mark it. Opens up for Membry. Turns Henry inside out. Open forward line, but there's not a lot of Saints down there. Butler got a fist on it, knocked it down. Big moment for them here. Hind, Butler have got the numbers, and he's tackled out.
I reckon if you ask St Kilda players who have been so good in the past few weeks, the difference tonight, it would be they've had no time. And when they've looked up to come out of defence, for instance, there hasn't been the free player to hit up. There's always been a Geelong player either right with their opponent or down the line where they want to kick it to.
So Billings on the turn, tries to get it forward. Stewart, what a great player he's been.
They're just always outnumbered, aren't they? They look up at St Kilda players. There's always an outnumber. Quite often there's 2 extra defenders there for Geelong. Whether they can recreate it with the winger rushing back to support the defence, or whether they have a +1 at the stoppage.
So 25 points, the difference. This is the moment for St Kilda. Picked up by Guthrie, though. Stephen, great play. Beautiful release handball. Gets it over the top. Selwood's kick just floats it forward. The bounce, which way will it go? The way of Geelong. And this man has had a ball on a string in the forward line, and the kick is magnificent. And Tui takes the mark. And Rowan's kick was a ripper.
He's also been redeployed, Zach Tui, over the past month or so. We've known him as a halfback flanker of the highest quality. He's played forward. He's lined up on a wing tonight. And he's now having another shot. So I really like what Chris Scott's done with his team. I think probably sharing the load all around the ground. Henderson's gone back, so it allows Tui to go somewhere else.
So Zach Tui with the number 2, a Tui or 2 to come in. A beautiful kick of the football, the Irishman, and he comes in and splits the middle, and that is a dagger into the heart of St Kilda supporters.
It's becoming a problem around the clearances, around the stoppage work at the moment. Geelong's absolutely dominating that area of the ground. 7-2 the clearance this quarter, and they just run away with it too easy. Contested possessions, they're +5 as well. Really threatening, and the St Kilda midfield just can't go with the Cats at the moment. Whether Scotty's frustrated there, or he's actually happy with the excitement, just banging the desk.
The mosquito got in the box. He couldn't be upset with the way they go. I suppose you could be. I don't know what it would be, though. I like the way they use their wingman, Geelong. They've rotated a few through there, and they've maintained their space, held their width.
They can smell some blood here, Geelong. Back in the middle, Marshall in the ruck for the Saints. First game of Jack Bytel in there with the responsibility. Try and stop the clearance from either Selwood or Parfitt. And Jack Stephen against his old team. Marshall knocks it down. Steele got the clearance. Trapped by Menegola, who claims the mark. Not too sure Phillips thought it was the required distance, but he got away with it. And Menegola pumps it. Rowan almost plucked it. Carlisle, little poke to Caulfield. To the wing. King hasn't had the best of nights. Menegola has had the best of nights. To Duncan, he's had a fair night at the office too.
There's the little blokes for St Kilda there at the fall of the ball. 3-1 there. St Kilda. Max King flew. He was the only St Kilda player in the shot.
Jack Stephen down the line. Menegola flick over the top to Parfitt. danced his way around Marshall, hands to the pocket, and Howard gets back to save the day, but it's still not a bad spot for a ball in for the Cats.
Good ball, and I can't help but think the loss of Ryder has been significant tonight. They just haven't been able to get any dominance around the stoppages, Gaz.
And Jones, they've missed.
Yeah, Jones been a big out as well.
No breakaway speed from a clearance, which then opens the ground up a bit for them. They've been stopped in their tracks. I think that's the system.
Jack Hawkins hits it forward looking for Parfitt. Phillips did well to intercept. And Kolajasny takes the mark. So King not able to take those marks coming out tonight.
It's playing on a 34-year-old super wily veteran that's not getting him a run at it. It'd be great to get an ISO camera on those two.
Henderson kicks forward. Is there a push out? No. Geary, Phillips, Gresham, Caulfield, twisting, turning, in trouble, turns it over. Phillips did well enough. Now it's Blitzarf. So here come the Cats. The skipper, Selwood, kicks to the hot spot. They're all lining up, and the goal comes to big Tommy Hawkins. They keep kicking to that hot spot, and they keep getting results.
And don't ever underestimate pressure. We've seen it a couple of times already tonight on our pressure chart there. They're way up in the elite level. But look at this. 1, 2, forces the wild kick out. Turnovers on. Kick to that spot. Give it a bit of muscle, a bit of support from, who was that there? Tom Atkins. But this has been a consistent team all night. They have not allowed St Kilda to get... We know they love to mark and play on and get some space, but they haven't allowed it all night.
Spot on, Gaz. You combine that pressure with the experience and their structure behind the ball has been set up. And you certainly see it at ground level here. They're so well organised behind the ball. It makes it almost impossible for St Kilda to get through.
So the Cats will take the Saints spot in the top 4 if they get this job done in the next quarter and 5 minutes. Saints coming off 4 wins in a row. And the start of that 4-win-in-a-row stretch was a big win over Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. This is a big game, this. And the Cats are getting some percentage the way it's transpiring. Saints need to stop the rot in a hurry. Duncan another possession. Selwood straight down the spine. Through the hands. Rowan shrunk the tackle at Caulfield. Caught second time. Geary tried to get it out. Bytel a little hand off.
Dwayne, it's been an absolute bashing around the clearances this quarter. Geelong's big boys have stood up.
It's good to watch, isn't it, when you've been there and done it and you've got all the trophies in the cabinet, yet you're going as hard as they are right now.
Duncan to Dangerfield. They've got a little bloke by Gary Ablett to come back in at some stage. The Cats, so the Saints might be without a couple as well. The Cats have got a couple to come back into. Dangerfield, just a long launch. Goal square. Has it carried the pack? Brilliant.
And Pat Dangerfield, as he runs back to the middle, might just turn around to the umpire and say, listen, you played me on then when I wanted to take my 30 seconds to have my shot. So you made a decision on my behalf that I couldn't kick the goal.
Gaz, he just did it. He just did it. He's run past the umpire and had a word to him. So you called played on.
Well, where's the umpire to say that Patrick Dangerfield can't kick a ball 55, 58 metres? So he's gone back, got called play on, just eased it over their head, and I would hope he'd run back and say, now don't you make that same mistake again there, up.
He won't, because he sniffed him out and just followed him back to the middle and just had a little word in his ear. Beautiful work.
So the Cats have kicked the last 6 of the game. So it was 6 points the difference, 15 minutes into the second term. Goals to Rowan, Hawkins, then that half-time break, then Menegola, Tui, Hawkins and Dangerfield. And suddenly the game is blown out to a 43-point margin.
Yeah, and now the Saints have they've got to salvage something here. I mean, they've had some fantastic 3 or 4 weeks. We know we're going to get these results every now and then, but they need to just salvage a bit of pride.
You could see the inside 50s. Well, suddenly St Kilda get one going the other way. Long has to do something with it. Henry goes to the ground. Long twisting and turning. Handballs back. The kick from Butler up towards the full forward position. Off hands. Again, Selwood. Geelong players hunting the ball hard. The big names doing all the hard work, and it's Dangerfield again who gets the ball out. Hawkins again who hits it hard. Atkins picks it up and goes. Looks forward. Beautiful kick. The lead was out. Rowan's having a night out. Twists and turns and kicks it up towards Stanley. It's over the line and out of bounds on the
You're right, I love that word, hunting. Dangerfield hunting the ball. 6 disposals this quarter, as has Selwood 7, Menengola 7, Duncan 8. The big guns for Geelong, the big gun midfielders have absolutely hunted St Kilda, and that's why the game has well and truly turned in the favour of the Cats this quarter. Have a look at that. Your leaders stepping up to the plate. It's an absolute demolition.
They're on a mission here to make a statement, the Cats, and Dangerfield, the loudest in the statement making. He nearly had that to run through it. Steele back out towards the wing. Membry, good use of the body. Buse, a brilliant tackle. Got away with it. Little knock by Long to Kent. Runs the boundary, dances back on Duncan, back to Membry. A little bit of a build-up here. The Saints need to parlay into a goal. Get some confidence back.
Got to go slow. No one there, obviously.
He sits it up high. Steele won't get a run at it. 3 Cats were down there, and that was an easy spank through for a behind.
So we know that Geary went to Stewart to try to engage him, but everything else hasn't worked. You know that their wingers have pushed back super hard, so there'll be some big learnings out of this for Brett Ratton and his group. Maxie King at the moment sitting around going, hang on, this is not what's been happening in recent times.
They've thrown Long forward, they put Geary back, but it's a bit hard, guys, when you're getting dominated around the centre.
Slow ball movement, numbers back, no space.
Let's go down to Lynchy, boundary side.
Yeah, just see in the background there, Jack Henry's been assessed. Looks like a bit of an issue with his right ankle. So limp from the ground's been attended to by the physio. This is the incident just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, just
rolls that right ankle out. So possibly get it restrapped and back out there shortly.
Well, he stood on his foot twice, didn't he? Anyway, rolled it out. And there he is again, Patrick Dangerfield. Relishing getting back in the middle. He's had a little bit of time share up in the forward line the last 2 weeks. Just letting everybody know what it's like to see him in action in the middle of the ground, where he dominates. Such a sensational player. Kolajasny picks the ball up. Comes out wide. He hasn't put a foot wrong tonight either.
Not much pressure right now.
Harry Taylor.
Point of view. It's all one way, the pressure, Eddie. It's coming from the blue and white team.
Yep, Brian Myers has it. Again, good kick. Nice lead up, too close. Tui. There's a look up. What do you reckon? Just bang it in the air, let somebody have a go for a grab? No.
Inside 2 minutes.
Don't need to.
They're just going to take their time.
Kolajasny can get the switch. Stewart's out there now, ready for it. O'Connor's got it. The Irishman from County Kerry. Ty Kennelly's County and Ireland. Good play by Stewart. Fixes up his own mistake. It's a 2-on-1, but when the one is Dangerfield, it's really 2 against 4. Stephen did well to hold it up. The Saints try and get it out now through Hind. And it's over the line and out of bounds. Good defensive play by O'Connor. And we'll have a throw-in.
Tom Stewart fumbles the ball, the mark, and then Dan Butler's got him there. Dan Butler's a tackling pressure forward. He just bounces around.
Yeah. Look at that pressure, Gaz.
Sums it up right there.
Geelong, especially their forward half pressure is outstanding. That's why St Kilda's just been suffocated. They just can't get any clean ball movement into their forward half. And Geelong's clearances, Gaz, they're only +3 in the clearances. But what you notice about not all teams, when they get first possession off the ruckman's hands, they're dominant with that possession. But Geelong, when they get first possession, quite often something eventuates for Geelong in Geelong's favour.
42 points up, and that pressure gauge still at 100%. Guthrie to Stephen. Tries to spear past the ball towards Dangerfield half forward, who's a little tap down in the marking contest to the free man standing next to him before was Sublime. He's enjoying his evening.
Biggest difference today in a game, Gaz, all season between the two sides when it comes to pressure. Yeah. Biggest differential. So
it looks like it doesn't, and that happens when you play the uncontested mark game as well, because you can't get any heat on. All you're doing is chasing tail and standing the mark. So it's been superbly professional from Geelong up to this day.
Percentage going to be important as well. High tackle, high contest, Marshall. So they could get a bit of percentage to go with the 4 points here, the Cats, but they've also got a short break to Port Adelaide next week. Or later this week, I should say. That's how quickly the game's come around. Hind up against the boundary. Tried to keep it running, and he didn't have it as he was tossed aside. And we'll get a ball in. 29 seconds left.
So massive quarter for Geelong. As we mentioned earlier, they've kicked the last 6 of the game. All 4 goals in this, as it's known as the premiership quarter, the third quarter of the game. Kent did really well, hard at it, trying to lift the intensity. The ball spills out to Hind, and the snap is across the face of goal for behind.
What they got to do, Brownie? A 3/4 time now, 17 seconds on, 15 seconds on the clock.
It starts in the clinches, Gaz. I think when you've been absolutely dominated around the contest, it's hard for the forwards to get creative or certainly get in a good position.
Stuart Walsh is out, kicks it to the 60.
So I'm putting it on my midfielders. Put it on the midfield. Yeah, I know it's been made difficult with the loss of Jones and Ryder. Certainly had a big impact, but guys like that, Jake Gresham, they need to lift. You know, that's been a strong part of St Kilda the last few weeks, but they've been belted up around this part of the ground today.
Looking for a lucky mark, didn't come. And that's it, 3/4 time, and Geelong have flexed their muscles in this match. Battle weight of the heavyweights, battle of the heavyweights in season 2020, but it's been all one way at the moment. Geelong led by 3 points at quarter time, 17 points at half time, and now at 3/4 time lead by 41 points. Don't forget, coming up straight after this quarter of football, it's Fremantle and Hawthorn, a big Monday night football doubleheader. Should be a great game of footy, this one. Fremantle versus Hawthorn, all the big names are playing. That's next after the final quarter.
Part of our big doubleheader on Fox Footy tonight. Fremantle and Hawthorn coming up next after the conclusion of this one. Alistair Clarkson on a mission to get his guys travelling up the ladder at the pointy end of the season. Well, we've got a quarter to come here yet at the Gabba. Round 11 clash between 2 premiership contenders coming in, but the Saints haven't passed the test so far. 4-8-32 to Geelong, 11-7-73, and all the big guns for Geelong have been starry, including Hawkins and Patrick Dangerfield, who's had plenty of it. Sam Menegola with 24 possessions has won the majority of the possessions for the Cats. Chris Scott on screen as we head down to Alistair Lynch.
Thanks, Dwayne. And I reckon Scotty will be pretty happy in there at the moment. And we've spoken about all night pretty much the wing rotations, and certainly Duncan's gone through their Menegolas with those 24 touches. But it's worth watching in the last quarter. The rotation that we're seeing quite often is Blixarve starting on the wing. Reece Stanley will start in the middle of the ground as the ruckman, but Blixarves will rotate with him, go into the middle of the ground. Stanley rotates forward, if you can follow me with this. And then what we're seeing is often Mitch Duncan then will roll up onto the wing. So it's a 3-way rotation, which includes 2 at times as well. But basically, Blixarves is starting on the wing and then goes into the ruck, and just Stanley slides forward. So they're racking up plenty of touches doing that.
I love the way they've used it, and Chris Scott is known for that. I mean, he's hard to coach against. They'd say, Brownie, 110. St Kilda have only had 110 uncontested possessions for the night. Now, that's just, again, it's stifling. So they look up, they're mad, they've got no one down the line, or when they do, how many times have we seen them out in space and putting together a chain of uncontested possessions? It hasn't happened, and that's Geelong to a T.
How much you put that down to work rate, Gaz, when St Kilda's only had 23 tackles on the night?
Both. I mean, it's both, and it can take away your willingness to work.
Saints percentage, they started tonight with a percentage of 123. That's dropped to 114.
Well, they want to score, not only for percentage, but for their own confidence levels. I know that. I mean, I think Eddie or you said they failed the test. It is. This was a big test, a big game on Monday night. We've all day wanted to sit here, as we did with Port, to see whether they could pass their test, and they passed it with flying colours. And not the end of the world for St Kilda, but right now they've got an F, and they've got some work to do, some homework to do.
Looks like the Cats might not have Jack Henry, although he's had his ankle re-strapped, so we'll see if he prepares to come back on at some stage in this last quarter, but they don't necessarily have to risk it. Blixarves up to the wing. In that one-on-one battle with Hill, as we've talked about with Alistair Lynch, Gary Lyon and Jonathan Brown, that rotation the Cats are going through.
23 tackles, to just get back to your point. That is incredibly low. That is an incredibly not low number.
Yeah, they'd be really disappointed with that, Gaz. You know, they would pride themselves in that. They've got good small forwards that are applying massive pressure. So, if nothing else, they need to lift their work rate in this last quarter of the St Kilda Football Club.
Patrick Dangerfield at full forward. Bounce to start the final term. Stanley and Marshall, who's had to do it alone in this one with no Paddy Ryder, the late withdrawal. Menegola fights hard for it. Atkins shoots the handball through to Rowan. His drop step was beautiful. He faked, he wobbled, Tui nearly plucked it. Went up, tried to go off the deck. Handballed in the end of Dangerfield, throws it. Umpire let it roll. Nice free kick. Parfitt, Atkins, he looks inside, hands it back. Rowan from the scramble, ball to the pocket. Tackle late by Hawkins. Caulfield around the boundary, but it might be coming back. Tui nearly had a piece of it. O'Connor was down there as well. Blitzarves against the grain. Atkins dances backward, got it to Tui, handball backward, got it to Henry, who's back on and bends it outside of the boot towards full forward. Dangerfield nearly the mark. Sinclair saves the day, pokes it wide, and Billings holds it up and gets himself a breath.
Was that an apology to Dangerfield for making him kick before?
Square up, no free kick, because we realised they threw the ball just earlier.
Yeah. Here we go. Hughes attacks the ball hard, looks up to the full forward zone, but he's put too much bend on that one. So they've gone to the top of the square all night. This time they went to the pocket too far. And free kick to big Jake Carlisle. So Jake just pokes the ball out.
No mark play on there. The number one play on from a mark team in the comp coming into this game tonight, but you wouldn't have known it given the way that they've stopped them.
Patton tries to find a bit of extra yardage, if you like, but had to run onto the left boot. Billings at the fall of the ball. Clark over the top, little toe poke. Gresham looks up, nothing in the corridor, so has to go back up the line. It's a beautiful kick, and Membry didn't let him down. Well played. Now they've got a couple of runners. Membry over to Kent. Kent takes the mark. Billings runs through. Flick over the top is to Hind. Hind looks inside. Has to go to a 1-on-3 off hands. Henry at the fall of the ball. Kolajasny gets it out. Big Harry Taylor slams it on the boot. It's coming back though. Picked up by Patton. Handballs inside. Puts his teammate under all sorts of problems there by Tell. Finally just got a toe poke on it. Kolajasny again. Tries to Donaga and drops it. And a free kick will go to Clark.
Stop. That's better. Dougal Howard's gone forward, so he's changed it up a little bit.
It's gone the other way.
Yeah, high contact in the tackle.
Yikes. I'm a bit with Hunter Clark there. But anyway, we'll have a look at the replay. Umpire was right there. So Kolajasny goes wide, and the Cats can reload.
There's a present for Kolajasny's 100th game, that. Caulfield gets back. I wonder if Hunter Clark's pushed forward as well here in this last quarter.
They're playing on, so they're taking the game on, Dwayne, which is it they've got to do. Get back to their DNA.
Marshall long to the pocket, just sails over the head of Howard, who, as Gary Lyon said, has been pushed forward.
He's had success there in the past. Yeah. No, the scoreboard's out of hand for the St Kilda Footy Club. I think that's a good move, putting Howard forward. He's capable of kicking 2 or 3 in a quarter.
Blitzarves knocks it down. Vitale's been pretty good the first game.
He gets a big pass, right? He has been.
Absolutely. He won't go back to being a barman after this night's performance. He's going to be a footballer for a long time. Hughes has got it on a half-back flank, looks inside. Kolajasny wants to cross it and keep going. Spears it to Henderson, who was dropped off the list at the start of the season and got a late reprieve because Ryan Abbott was traded to the Saints. So he'd be pretty happy to be getting a game at the moment too. Menegola, who takes the pluck.
They're going to have to contend with the way they play their wings, the opposition teams. They've got big, strong bodies, Menegola. So you imagine Menegola and Tui on wings when you're coming out of defence. You know you're going to get a big contest. You're not going to get pushed aside easily.
And Duncan, when he goes out there as well.
Duncan or Blitzarves.
Blitzarves moves up. Yes. You thought it was tough when Dipper was on a wing. They're rolling him right through. Stanley, nice hit. Atkins has been good as well. Parfitt gets the handball out. Duncan along the line. Guthrie tries to knock it forward, picked up by Steele for St Kilda, goes backwards. But the numbers lining up here. Billings takes a mark. But they've been denied access through the corridor all night, haven't they?
That was a good example, Ian Guthrie, just pushing out of that stoppage, just rushing down to apply enormous pressure. And St Kilda get the footy back, but you know, it's difficult. They're still in their back 50.
Sinclair to Wilkie, trying to get something happening. Carlisle transfer to the outer side. Carlisle directing traffic, says, run at me. Until he said, OK, I will. And he has a bounce, 55 out, kicks to the pocket, to the top of the square. Mitch Duncan just runs in and slams it on the boot. And that is as easy a goal as you'll see.
Yeah, another one of those wingers. Gary's speaking about Mitch Duncan's had a fair night, especially since quarter time, 21 disposals. He's kicked the goal there. He's been up and down the field. He's been terrific. He's had 5 inside 50s as well. So
this is what I talked about earlier. Yeah. I mean, they, for the last month, have come out of their back half like that and had... The only decision they've had to make is whether they went short, long, or through the middle. They had that many options, but as we saw that unfold, it was a great look at it. There was no easy out for Brad Hill, and in the end, he gave up on it. Brad Hill gave up on it too. He runs past him and sets it up. So it sort of almost sucked the will out of the Saints right now. And it happens from time to time, but they got there's nowhere to go. They don't know what to do.
And you're right, he's having a good night again, Mitch Duncan. They missed him in the finals last year. The Cats. It's had an amazing career for a guy who's never been All-Australian and never won a best and fairest. And he has to sit down.
Could you go your career and not make All-Australian and be a Hall of Famer, Mitch? He'd have to be in the conversation, though, Dwayne, at the end of his career.
Absolutely. Great team players probably can do that. Brownie. Dangerfield flicks it out. In his back. Look at him directing traffic. He's having some fun. Heads out wide to Blitzar, so he can go here. Colin Jasny runs for him. Floats the handball in front. Sends it long. And dropping in with Stanley to take a pluck. 30 from goal.
Well, there's the handover. That's the ruckman drifting forward as the forward. Now, Marshall, as we know, ruckman don't play well at full back. So Marshall's still got that matchup, but he's drifted forward out of the ruck.
And he does it with safe and secure in the knowledge that Blitzarves is in behind, backing up should the ball get turned over.
Speaking of Duncan missing the finals last year with injury, Stanley was left out of that Geelong first final against Collingwood last year. When he's on, when he's not on with that kick, he is one of the best ruckmen in the comp. Just that he's not on all the time. He's had a pretty good night tonight.
How much does the game change if Ryder's out there, Gaz?
You'd have to say a bit, but see the way that Geelong have owned them around these structured areas and not allowing them any out, I don't think it'd change the result. I couldn't suggest it'd change the result. I mean, this has been a fair nickum old-fashioned belter.
There's been 4 or 5 teams in this competition rotated through the premiership favouritism. Geelong haven't popped up. They've got to be in calculations.
Yeah, no, well, that for sure, Lynchy. And this is the sort of year we're having, is that one of any number.
Their injuries, form, the whole business. So much to continue on this season, but Geelong just playing great football. Tui's just dominating at the moment. Beautiful kick again up towards the full forward position. Rowan has had a night out. Good play by Long. Caulfield flicks it out. Butler twisting and turning under pressure. Kicks to space. Billings goes forward on this occasion. Sinclair. Out wide it comes. Patton under pressure, and they've turned it over. And O'Connor's played well tonight.
It's an Andy Knight. He's kept Dan Butler to 4 disposals. No shots at goal. It's a very good night. Mark O'Connor, he'd be sneaking under the radar of the elite defenders in the competition, but he has become an elite lockdown defender with his form in 2020.
Marshall scrambles a kick away. Kick inside, which should be, well, it is perfect to Billings.
Go.
Well, and then he thought, did he hear you then?
Well, yeah.
He didn't want to go until you said go.
This might be beyond him outside 50. That's all I was thinking. Maybe take that 10 metres.
So now he floats it, and that'll work. one of the few errors from the Cats, and Kent can line up.
That's exactly right, Dwayne. It's one of the few times we can sit here tonight and go, oh, gee, they didn't do the required thing at the required time. And it's so stark that that's the sort of night they've had.
Saints haven't kicked a goal since half-time. They were 4-6 at half-time. They're 4-8 now. Then he struts. That's his history all time, this spot. And he doesn't get that to go through the main gap either. Only a behind.
So Henderson from fullback, no 15. Guthrie, Henderson. The turnover was on. It went for too much. Still 15. No, umpire said play on. Battle's thrown to the ground. Clark does well to just flick it forward, but it's picked up by Henry. High up and under. Is it coming back? Yes, it is.
He's worked hard, Jack Steele. Coming off his 22nd touch. He's been in the middle, been in that centre square.
So Steele, there's no one there though for them. Free kick for the Saints, is it? I think it is, yeah, for a block. And big Dougal Howard will get a shot at goal.
I'm sure he was aware, Dougal, that it was his kick. He was sort of wandering off into the night.
Been a low umpire, been a low free kick night. 10 to 12, free kick count in favour of Geelong.
Stewart, just the slightest of blocks. And if looks could kill. You've got to be kidding, umpire, he said. So Howard comes in. Back to fullback for you, Dougal. That was a horrible attempt.
Kind of sums up the Saints' night. Stewart heads long from the kick in. Henderson, great grab. Menegola. They got players this Cats line up fighting for a spot. Close is one of those. Hands it towards Parfitt. 2-on-1. Atkins turned inside. It's got Jack Stephen. He flicks it down. Parfitt trying to go off the deck. Long's got it, but they've got him. Wing tackle, but he's trying to get rid of it. Sort of. And we'll get a ball up. Blitzas falls. Marshall takes out of the air, and now he's nearly gone. Got it away, but didn't get a kick away, but he made an attempt. Myers, Stephen tried to drop into a high one. Umpire let it roll. Smother off the boot of steel after he got it from Caulfield, and they're still fighting hard, the Cats, despite being 46 points up.
That is a great example of Geelong's pressure tonight. They have been outstanding. Still since round 3, they lost against Carlton. They haven't conceded. They only conceded 60 points once.
Selwood's kick up towards full-forward Tom Hawkins. Open goal, and Tommy just is starting to feast now, and you can just see the Cats say, come on, we're in this by 10 goals plus. Let's go for it.
Well, he's kicked 5. He's monster Jake Carlisle. So that's the next question that they'll be having to deal with down at St Kilda land, is that can Jake Carlisle play as a key in the key defensive post? And he won't be the only one that gets monstered by Tommy Hawkins, but he's got to try and be better body position than that. That just gets flipped around too easy. So 5 to Tom, just part of a very, very slick, well-oiled Geelong machine. And there'll be plenty of Cats fans. We'd all know one that are close to us that'll be sitting back tonight starting to think we are in this up to our eyeballs.
Take notice, absolutely. I think we took notice a couple of weeks ago, Gaz, when they went down the West Coast, but they were very good that night over in Perth. The West Coast are red hot at the moment.
Tell you what, there's a big game Friday night at Metricon Stadium when Geelong take on Port Adelaide.
And that's a great point, Lynchy, because they haven't started to roll players off the ground or start thinking about resting them, so that will be enormous on Saturday.
So
Friday.
Filling in with confidence instead here as Marshall goes up, gets a tap. Phillips. High up and under the centre half forward. Kent knocks it to the ground. Buesdo sweeps in behind to Stewart. Stewart just puts it up in the air looking for Dangerfield. Dangerfield knew his teammate Stephen was underneath him, so he directed it down there. Free kick. It was the first to the ground, so it wasn't a tunnel. And that was a good call by the umpire. Out it comes to Myers.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough too. You could argue that, you know, taking the legs out, but I think Jack Stephen was already at the ball.
Yeah, he was there.
He had every right to go back down and grab that football.
So Dangerfield's got it again. And this time the ball over the top.
Yeah, so Jack still needs to proceed with caution in that situation.
And to your point, Gaz, Paddy Dangerfield just came back on the field. So he's played every game this season and is just demanding more ground time. So he's certainly not putting the cue in the rack.
They look fit and healthy, don't they? They do look like they're running strongly. I suppose when you're 50 points up, you do.
Bytel, the one bright spot for the Saints, bangs it. Henry caught. Holding the ball. Advantage paid. Well, I'm sure Kent wanted the advantage. He just didn't hear the whistle. And he won't get it back.
I think it was Hind.
Hind, was it?
Yeah. Horrible. And he's acknowledging he knows that he made a bad blue. Not only did he take the advantage, he tried some ridiculous chief doing his head dribble kick.
So ball in.
He's a fan of bounce.
Yeah. King, he's had a light night.
He'll get a run this week.
And he edged out easy by Stanley here. Hind, who owes them one. High contact, so he will get a chance to kick him one.
Let's hope he doesn't pass it just for the sake of it, Guido. Go back and kick the goal. I mean, he's had a really tough night, but this is what happens in footy. He's got a blood rule, so he's heading off. But you are relying upon your teammates, and there are a few superstars that can go irrespective of what's happening around them, make things happen. But guys like Hind and Butler are reliant on King and Membry and Battle to give them something to feast on, and Geelong haven't allowed it tonight.
So he's going to be allowed to take this kick, even though there's a little bit of blood dripping.
Mitch Wallace has just shown his remote through the television. He's been robbed of about 5 this year.
So Nick Hind, a little bit of wallpaper over the cracks, perhaps, and no. And he didn't even make the distance in the end from there.
He hasn't made the distance twice in 2 minutes, Dwayne. Jeez.
Guys, a special comments, Ben, as we wait to see a score review. What is the go with putting the mouthguard in the sock?
I never understood that. You play the whole game.
Score
with the
review. Umpire's ball is touch throw-in. Please check.
Yeah, never understood that.
Review underway.
You play the whole game with the mouthguard in. You take it out for your shots on goal. That might explain why some of our goal kicking accuracy is terrible.
Review complete. Looking at this angle, we can see the ball clearly hits the behind post. Decision on the scoreboard.
So it's out of bounds and not a behind. It'll be a ball in, so he didn't even score from there.
What you used to do, guys, just put the mouthguard in your sock.
I abandoned the mouthguard, disgraceful as it is, about halfway through my career, Rowdy. And I wouldn't recommend that for young kids.
So throw in. Can the Saints get something? They haven't scored a goal since the 15-minute mark of the second quarter. And they've, since that time, kicked 5 behinds. King gets the tap, but it's picked up by Stephen. Once upon a time, that would have been a good thing for the St Kilda Football Club. Tonight it ain't. They'll have another throw in.
Be interesting to see who they got the Saints coming up, Duano.
Saints have Essendon at the Gabba and then Brisbane at the Gabba.
Yeah, so see whether this knocks them around a bit, confidence-wise, or they've got to get back on the bike really quickly. They've had a really good period.
Under 4 minutes to go. Phillips has played pretty well tonight. Left foot kick, high up and under. Up goes King, couldn't quite take the mark. Coming through is Kent for St Kilda. Hind trying to break through. Phillips gets the handball going. Gresham, but they're worried out of it, and Hughes takes it to the boundary line. A fumble, throwing.
Interesting. So 3 big ins. Ryder, Jones and Seb Ross. Probably back in for the next game. Or certainly the week after against Brisbane. They want all the troops there for the Brisbane game, Gaz. Certainly changes their lineup. But still be disappointed tonight. I think you question their work ethic a bit. You know, they've been fantastic all year, and yes, they've had a big campaign with some travel, but I think they'd be disappointed.
Opposition sides will go to work on them too. The way that got pushed back hard and defended them.
As we've talked about a bit, the Cats have got Port Adelaide, but they're not putting Dangerfield in cotton wool. He's still out there fighting for hard balls as Marshall swings it on the boot. It's wide, and Stewart content to take the free kick for out on the full.
Players might be doing themselves not a disservice, but 5-day breaks are never going to be excused ever again in footy, I don't think.
O'Connor. Another 13-goal game for the Cats. Kicked 13 last week, 13 again this week. And Stanley has made a statement of his own against his old team.
And remember, just last week, Geelong came off that 4-day break and the flight from Perth and had a convincing win here at the Gabba. So they've been in great touch off this compressed season.
Stewart out wide to Henderson, who can go if he wants to. Maybe they're a little spent, used a few tickets, and they can just hold it up and take some time now.
I wonder if some teams are just better suited to playing footy and just backing up. Maybe their system lends itself to playing. I mean,
all the blokes are, guys. It means they don't have to train.
7:30, we say it again, 7:30-year-olds. I was just watching Harry Taylor jog across the ground there. He hasn't had much of the footy, but neither's Max King, and he wouldn't have much dirt on his shorts.
How good is it, though? During footy season, you don't have to train.
Well, just
want to play.
Maintain, get your medical, eat well, sleep well, play footy. Makes a bit of sense rather than training, have a game. That's what everyone loves to do, play.
Well, Cats did bring in guys that were rested last week. So Parfitt rested last week, Kolajasny rested last week, Rowan rested last week, and they've rested a couple of guys like Radaglia this one.
And the three of them have played well. So Marshall has tried his best, taps it down. Sinclair for St Kilda, tries to flick it back. Picked up by Stephen, close to the boundary line and over now as Atkins takes it to the bench. And a throw in.
So a couple might have
had benches it.
Might have had an early call. There's another one.
There you go. Put him in cold.
That's enough. About 3 mil just sat down on your bench. Not at Geelong.
Phillips got the handball up. Caulfield a chance to weave his way through the traffic to Patton. Sits it wide. Parfitt jumps in. He's not done yet. Marshall tried to squeeze it out. Sinclair to Kent. Blasts it back towards his Harry Taylor. Hughes came in. Taylor nearly stopped. He gets it back, the old man.
Look at Harry.
Yeah. Just chips it wide. Missed his target, though. Wilkie, he cuts it off. He sat it a little on Hunter Clark, who won himself a free kick. See if they can make something out of this. Billings goes wide. Heads toward Phillips. Thumped away from him. Going hard close. Not too high. O'Connor. Guthrie, he's not being rested at the moment. Little flick over the head, O'Connor. Duncan's not being rested. Bench isn't big enough to put all the big guns on it. Heads wide to it'll saddle up. And the free kick to close after Phillips got a little too excited with his ability to pull down the big one.
So 52 points the margin as Brian Myers decides to have a go. Right. In the middle of the ground, Hughes' kick is out to Tui. Tui looks up, you can see what he's got on. Parfitt's kick is a good one, and here's Jack Stephen just to rub it right in.
It's a great kick, wasn't it? Brian Myers
opened it up, didn't he?
Just a beautiful inside 50. The Saints are probably thinking about, getting on the bus and getting back and recovering and not worrying too much about covering the corridor. And it was a beautiful hit up.
I suppose finding a bit of form, Gaz. Come back in last week.
Bit fitting, a little bit of...
Well, the last time he kicked the goal this close to the siren, he was putting St Kilda in front to beat Geelong the last time they had a win. This time he's playing for the hoops and he comes in and kicks it behind.
It's ruined the whole story.
Build it up nicely too.
He looks fitter.
He looks good, doesn't he?
He looks a lot fitter.
Certainly fitter than last year.
Cats,
an extra couple.
Cats had the Saints measure a bit too. This will be one of the last 11 against the Cats. The Saints have won, so Cats pretty confident against them as well.
So last roll of the dice. Here's Jack Stephen again. His kick is to the hot spot. Rowan! Well, he deserves to have the full stop on the game.
Big Knight coming up for his 4th goal. He's had 6 shots a goal already. Yeah, scoring involvements as well.
Tom Hawkins has kicked 5. Rowan has kicked 3 goals.
8 scoring involvements, Ed.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? We said they'd want to get 10 goals. Well, this will just put them 1 point behind that. 59-point victors if Rowan can put it through. He comes in from directly in front and does exactly that. An emphatic victory for Geelong against St Kilda tonight.
Absolutely sensational. And he's been maligned over the journey, Gary Rowan, but he plays in that manner. He fits into that group so beautifully, and his pressure was symptomatic of what the whole group did. Just out-hustled them, coached them, outplayed them.
Yeah, I think the work around the contest was magnificent. They'll be very happy tonight.
9 goals, last 9 goals of the game to Geelong, which is just emphatic. I mean, it was 17 points at half-time. They're walking in 59 points, and in these shortened games, a 10-goal win is enormous. And Brett Ratten's got some thinking to do, and he'll get it done. There's some learnings out of all of this. His young key forward who's, will probably go to work on Max on how he played with Harry Taylor. He just didn't seem to get to any contest, Max King, and you'd need to beat the ground or behind the goals to watch where, the big fella was pushing him, and so there'll be learnings there. But if you're a Geelong supporter and you've had a fantastic ride, the ride's not over, because that just indicates that they're going to be there.
They're hard to score against, Gaz, aren't they? So it's hard for a young forward coming up against the defence like that, a team defence. Again, they've only conceded more than 60 points once in about the last probably 8 weeks, I think it is. They've been magnificent. They just stifle oppositions, Dwayne.
And that's the second biggest score they've kicked all season as well, so they can put a big number on you as well. Let's head downstairs to Alistair Lynch.
Thanks, Dwayne. You're with Paddy Dangerfield. Paddy, a comprehensive victory you'd be very happy with.
Yeah, absolutely. We set ourselves for this one. Saints have been playing some great footy, and thought we controlled the ball quite well. We were really efficient in the first half, obviously. I think it was 12 scoring shots out of 18 inside 50, so that efficiency served us well.
And over the last couple of weeks since arriving from Perth, you've rotated some big numbers through the team. You must be happy with the depth of the list.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll continue to do that this week. I think that's the key with those really short turnarounds. It's changes of 5 or 6 just to make sure we've still got speed on the game when we need it, and are blooding the guys that really deserve their opportunity. Some guys that were, that will play next week that didn't play in tonight's game.
Your name always comes up with whether time in the middle or actually playing the game. You've played all season. Any thought of resting, or was last week at full forward rest?
No, it's sort of that positional change, yeah, Lynchy. That's sort of what it'll be for probably 4 or 5 of us throughout the side. So I'm just lucky I can sit down there and the little fellas can chase for me. So I think the spread of contributors for us over the last fortnight has been really impressive.
Now, what about when you've moved forward, you've got a shot from 55 out, and the umpire didn't give you the 30 seconds to have a shot and told you to play on? Did you actually run past him and suggest that you've still got that length?
I said, give me an extra 5 seconds next time. I'm just 30.
Oh, congratulations. Fantastic performance. I reckon you guys are looking really good.
Thanks, Lynchy.
Well
Cheers.
Really dominant around the stoppages with that man. That man and Selwood, Dangerfield. But there, Moggs Creek boy.
He owns most of Moggs Creek. In fact, he's putting in a new bridge out front. That's how important it is.
Under the ground?
Yeah, the new bridge out front of his house.
That man, Sam Menegola, Gaz, first player in 5 years in the AFL to have 25 disposals, 5 intercept marks and 2 goals. That's how significant a performance that was. Good night.
This is just the entree, of course. Game 2 of our big Monday night doubleheader on Fox Footy as our Fox Footy frenzy continues. The Dockers and Hawthorn coming your way next, so make sure you stick around for game 2. But a little bit more on game 1 before we hand over.
It'll be interesting. The Hawks got back to it a bit, and I think Fremantle are better than a lot of us people on the eastern seaboard are giving them credit. I know they got a lot of outs. They scored 23 times from 40 entries, so I know the halftime that they're talking about the efficiency. They maintained that. That is a huge percentage. That's more scoring more than 1 and 2, so they'll be thrilled with that when they go inside. And their work rate inside their work rate inside the 450 meant that when it went in, they just worked super hard and generated a score. So I don't know, when you've won premierships and you've been at the top for a long time, you can be forgiven for dropping off a bit, but there was no drop off at all.
No, when you mentioned it during the call, guys, 7 players over 30 years old. They showed that. They played like an experienced team. Average experience of 140 games per player, which is a huge amount of experience out there. They played. I like the way they set up the game early by slowing the game, taking the pace out of the game, denied St Kilda the football, and then they dominated the stoppages. In the second and third quarter, they really taught the St Kilda midfielders a lesson.
So for the 7th time this season, the Cats will sing the song. 7 wins, 4 losses now into the top 4. And a monster victory, really. 14-9-93. The St Kilda 4-10-34. A domination by 59 points.
So a comprehensive belting there, 59 points. Geelong flexing their muscles, a fantastic result. Up against a genuine contender, plenty for the Saints to take out of that. But the first take out is that they've got a bit of work to do. They need to get all their players back in. And Geelong, hardened campaigners when it comes to finals football, really playing a great brand tonight. Congratulations to Geelong, 59-point victors over St Kilda. All right, let's head over now to the west. It's going to be a big game. That's the next game between Fremantle and Hawthorn. No late changes, so we'll get over there now. Let's see what's going on. I think we've got them coming out onto the ground now. We'll take a short break. Sonny Walters in the stand for the Fremantle Dockers, enjoying a little bit of food. We'll take a break, and when we come back, it's Fremantle and Hawthorn out west.
You're watching the Footy Frenzy.